Sport Subaru, Sport Mitsubishi, right there on West Colonial Drive, the heart of Orlando.
Yeah, man.
Right across from the fairgrounds. And they will not go above MSRP. A lot of dealerships are doing that. Don Mealy said he's not going to do that.
Well, you should not be doing that. That's just taking advantage of people.
Well, the market is crazy, and people are willing to pay that. So there are other dealerships.
Oh, trust me. I'm still on the on hold for the car that I ordered, and people are buying them for $50,000 over market price.
Exactly.
That's insane.
And Don Mealy and Don Mealy's group, including DM Chevy in Claremont, said they're not going to go above MSRP. So you know that. Also, Subaru, if you're looking for a Subaru, there's no dealer fee.
Yep.
And a lot of other dealerships have like, screw that, we're doing a dealer fee because the market's crazy.
I think they're the only one I know of that even does that.
Yeah,
people drive for that because anywhere you can save a little bit of money. I mean, obviously you're going to take advantage of it.
They also still are doing stuff for local charities, and it's just a really good car company. If you're looking to buy a vehicle,
that Share the Love event's been going on for decades now.
Yeah.
I feel like, and Subaru does so much good stuff in the community, and it's amazing. And let's just talk about their cars. They'll be around for forever.
Yeah.
I mean, those things are well-built automobiles.
I've bought 4 vehicles from both our dealership sponsors, and let's talk about our contacts. Mike Stacks over at Sport Subaru, Sport Mitsubishi. Talk to Mike Stacks. It's easy. The form goes from our website. There's a Don Mealy Sport Subaru
Yeah, it's
form.
like a GIF you can click on.
Yeah, and then there's also a DM Chevy form, and when you fill out that form, it goes straight to either Mike Stacks
You're going
or
directly
JC.
into their email box, so it makes it very easy for them to reach out to you and try to get you into that automobile.
Yep, and if you're looking for the Chevy, JC Harrelson at Don Mealy Chevrolet in Claremont, he could help you out with that. So talk to JC Harrelson.
Are they taking orders for those electric Silverados now?
Yeah. They're.
I'm surprised you're not ponying up for.
I talked to a buddy about it.
Electric Chevy, buddy.
So if you're looking for a vehicle, use our dealership sponsors. Also, when you buy a car from them, they let us know, and we contact you. We give you a prize, and we're working on some things to, we used to bring people in the studio and watch the show.
Hey, Sam opened the list today. Did you know that? The list is open, baby.
We're working it out. So anyway, support our dealership sponsors, Sport Subaru, Sport Mitsubishi, and Don Mealy Chevrolet in Claremont.
It is a corporate time with Tom and Dan. I'm Dan.
I'm Tom.
Samantha, our producer, is here. I love your Tampa Bay Lightning shirt. Hello, Sam.
Thank you.
Go Lightning. Where are we at?
They're playing tonight.
They're playing tonight. I'm excited. I'm excited about it. And we're playing the Panthers again, and we're up 1-0.
Yep.
On the old Florida Panthers. And boy, Miami, nobody at that game. They would pan the crowd, and there'd be, for a playoff game, I'm like, where are all the people?
Weird. Because you think all the Lightning people would travel. Well, it's
there
right
were a few Lightning people there.
Yeah, a few. More than I expected. It was cool, though. If you're not watching
it wasn't
playoff
sold
hockey,
out?
It didn't look like it.
Didn't look like it.
Would you agree? It didn't. I mean, it could have been.
Tampa's always sold out.
Yeah,
Tampa's nuts.
Well,
they're crazy about their hockey.
They won the Stanley Cup before.
Yeah, well, I mean, between them and the Buccaneers, good luck getting a ticket, right? I mean, hard.
So you would think that, they'd at least travel and they'd sell it out. Crazy.
I don't know. But anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. We're certainly glad to have you here. You can join us live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Tom and Dan Live. We have a wonderful live stream that you can be a part of. You can watch, you can chat, hang out, listen to the show. And, you want to do some voicemails and emails?
Yep.
Let's jump into the old email bag. Samantha, find your latest and greatest email. We'll start with a voicemail, though. We'll start with this one. Very insulting voicemail to Tom from Zach from Ohio.
Hey, gang. It's Zach from Ohio. Tom, I was thinking about the time you flooded your street because you left your trash and recycling on the rain drain. Are you still the last people to take your trash cans up every week?
Insulting.
How dare you, Zach?
I'm going to guess you are still the last people to bring in your cans.
No, it just depends. I'm getting better as I get older. Like, I'm becoming a more respectable
That's what old
neighbor.
ladies say. Hold on. That's what every old lady says, or at least she has some sort of plaque in her kitchen that says that. It's like, I'm not old, I'm just experienced.
Where I will, as soon as I get home from work, I'll see the trash cans out, and I'm like, better do it now, because every once in a while I'll be stressed out or like,
Yeah, you're like always stressed out.
and then I'll go inside, and if I don't take the trash cans in, then it'll be days. Because
Days?
yeah, because then I'll see them and I'm like, oh, I got to do that. But then I want to push my problems away. That's my natural instinct.
Okay.
It's kind of like a tiger, like they can never be tamed.
You're the Tiger King.
Yeah, that's what they call me.
Yeah, it's weird.
And
You have the same haircut, too. For those of you that don't know what Tom looks like, he looks like a gay, gun-toting tigerman.
Is that my instinct is to
Yes.
always be bad at life and to always procrastinate my like everything, put everything away, push it back, do it later. And I have to fight that every day of my
Yeah.
life. And then when I see the trash cans,
And you
I'm
don't
like,
have
do
city
it now.
cans, right? Like you have different.
All
You have
different.
like mismatch. You have like how many cans you running? I'm running a 1-can system.
I have 6 cans.
God
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah, like I have 1 can. I have the one black
Yeah.
city provided can, and then I have a burgundy or maroon recycle can.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
I got
2
one
cans.
trash can, one recycle
Yeah,
can.
this guy's running 6. That's just
Yeah, yeah,
trash.
yeah.
Well, how many recycle are you running?
I got 3 all different, which is hard to do. I got
so you got the cardboard one, the glass one, the aluminum one.
No, I don't
You're
do
running
cardboard.
9 cans total. 9 cans.
I've got one fancy boy.
Well,
That's what
know
I put
he-
out
yeah.
when I have little trash.
Yeah.
I put the fancy boy.
He went to Bed Bath & Beyond and bought the fancy. My
No,
wife hates it when I buy the expensive ass ones that come with like matching lids.
Well, no, the fancy boy has the lid that's attached and the wheels.
Oh
right?
yeah. You got to have them wheels.
So
And
then-
don't let a rat.
That's like the county gives you.
A rat will gnaw a hole in the bottom of those, and you got to put some Flex Seal on the bottom.
Then I have one bright blue brute.
I know the brute.
Yeah.
I know exactly
Like
the
a
one you
janitor.
Yeah.
thick, bright
Like a-
blue brute.
like the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge.
Yeah.
Big brute.
And which I bought for recycling, and then I realized
And they're like,
because
"You can't use it."
because it's blue, and that's a recycling blue.
Yeah.
And they were like, "We will not take the recycling in this bright blue.
Yeah, they're-
you have to put it in the green cracked square."
Yeah.
Anyway, so then I have one WWE
Metal.
Yeah, metal.
That's called a
You got a
traditional.
metal
Yeah,
trash
yeah.
can?
That's called the OG traditional.
Yeah. I got one traditional
Yeah.
and dented
Like
crazy.
the stereotypical raccoon
It's
trash can.
sometimes that's referred to as the old 76er. It's like an old 1976
Yeah.
aluminum trash can. If you take off the handles, you can start slapping Brutus the Barber Beefcake right in the head.
Yeah. It looks like you slapped the beefcake 10 times with it. It's dented, like all rusty in the bottom.
But the good thing about an aluminum trash can is you can get inside of it and punch out the dents.
Yeah.
It'll last forever, man.
Yeah. So then I've got that, and then I've got a couple rando cheap brutes.
The black ones.
Yeah,
Gray top, black and gray top.
They're not as thick as the brute.
Thin boys.
Yeah. They're thin boy brutes, and they're all cracked, and I had to drill holes in the bottom because they would collect water.
Too much water.
And the mosquitoes.
This guy knows.
So those...
But the holes will also leak out some of your drippings from like your hams. The ham drippings, and then the rats will gnaw the holes bigger, and then you got a can that literally is just a solo cup with no bottom.
Yeah. Then I put all of my cardboard in between the trash cans, like
you feel like a filing, like it's organized. You're supposed to bundle that.
No, I know. That's why. That's why they
You're
hate
supposed
me.
to wrap it with twine.
That's why I
Have
hide.
you tipped them out yet?
I have not.
Dude, this is 3 weeks. You promised you would.
I did see them coming down the street,
And then you hid in your house?
No, I ran.
You're doing it again.
I ran inside. I was like, "Do you have money?" To my wife, and she's like,
Hide it.
No,
They're coming.
She was like, "I don't have any cash," and I was like, "God damn!" Then I had to hide because they were
So
coming.
we were
Where's
right.
that?
You did
Well,
hide.
what's weird is he hid in the bushes and they saw him the whole time. He's like peeking. They're like, "We see you."
How do you have so much trash?
I don't know. That's what I screamed to
His
my wife
whole
and my
garage is
kids.
trash. It's all trash.
We produce an insane amount for my wife. Is,
Amazon addiction.
Like she is a pet lover, and she always complaining about the environment and stuff. And I'm like, we produce more
Yeah.
trash.
Sounds like it.
than
My
every,
God.
Yeah, it's
You're
so
running
much
a
trash.
9-can system. A 9-can
That is
system.
ridiculous.
Dude, that is egregious. It
It's
is disgusting.
Too much trash.
We need to
I'm
call
like,
your wife, and we need not. We gotta. Can we get you down to at least a 6-can 3-and-3 system?
You can call her. She.
I don't want her wrath.
I'm
not opening that door.
Because she'll blame it on me. And
It probably is you.
no, because she's lives there too. So do my kids. They don't do nothing.
Well, is it the Amazon? You say that you guys do fancy
Well,
the
that's
Amazon.
that's mostly cardboard, though. I'm assuming.
But it's
Yeah,
not
but-
just her. I'm not going to let him do that to her. It's also him. He's always buying toys and knickknacks and water balloon cannons and all kinds of...
Oh, man. You know what I want? Real bad. And it's on... Now it's in my algorithm, and it shows me every day. It just makes me want it more.
What do you want?
Well, that's marketing. Yeah.
It's almost like they're... It's almost
They
like
show it to me every day, and now I want it more and more.
What's the word for it? It's almost like they're marketing to my...
Anyway, it's these guns that shoot the little
Blobs,
Orbeez.
the blobs,
Orbeez, yeah.
Oh, that's the Orby challenge that everyone's getting in trouble
No,
with.
but these guns, they shoot far.
I know.
Yeah, they're like, it'll shoot 4,000 feet. I'm like, 4,000 feet?
It looks like a paintball gun because it has all
Huge
the Orbeez
reservoir.
in a like.
What are you going to do with that, Tom?
I'm going to shoot you, shoot Tom.
Shoot my sons, and then we're all gonna shoot each other. I was gonna buy the 4-pack and then sales for the show, and then
Crystal down with that. I thought she hated guns.
Can we talk about something? Because I bought your daughter a gun. Your daughter. I bought your... my God. I bought your son... my wife bought it.
Yeah, Fortnite.
Fortnite
awesome.
a gun. And I told my wife not to buy it. I said... Guns are not approved in the Van household. I just wanted to make sure I didn't get you in any hot water.
We got a lot of guns now. Yeah. They have an whole arsenal of
great.
Of Nerf guns and stuff. Like we've got upwards of 17 guns.
Good.
That they all put out on.
Yeah, do they hang them on their wall like Mike Busey? They just hang them on their wall.
I want them to.
Yeah, get a flamethrower on your wall.
Your Nerf Busey. Anyway, so the gun thing, it's just like anything where she started off with all these ideals as a parent, like, we're going to do this, and like that, and then it's just lazy.
Vegetarian, no guns. And these
Now
are
Tommy's
gun-toting hot dog boys.
Yeah. It all became late. Like, she's like, oh, whatever.
Can you answer me something seriously?
Too tired.
How could you, me, your sons, any man live in Florida and not have a gun and eat a hot dog? Answer me that question. I don't think
That's
it's
what
possible.
I say. No, it's not. I mean, they have.
It's not possible. That's what you do.
Although
we didn't. No, sorry.
She wouldn't let it, like no BB guns or anything like that. Not like we had when we were kids.
Okay,
Anyway,
I'll put that one away. Crossman pellet. Yes, please.
Did you have a BB gun, Sam, when you were a kid?
We had a BB/pellet gun.
Yeah,
Oh,
Crossman.
yeah.
The pump. Brown bottom.
It was used to terrorize
and they're
my
like,
family.
pump it up 10 times. And
But
me,
yes, we did.
me and my dad would pump it up 15 times. And then, boy, oh, man, it would the red mist. The red mist.
What do we got here? Email.
Brought up a traumatizing event. BDM show Tom's son Tommy holding his breath. Hey, guys.
Okay.
I just wanted to give you my take on holding your breath as long as you can. So I can hold my breath underwater for over a minute while I'm in the pool, but actually have stopped doing it. The reason being is that my nephew in elementary school was, quote, playing a game of hold your breath for as long as you can with his buddies. Well, he won. He ended up passing out and falling face first into the concrete and chipping a couple of teeth. Totally thought your body wouldn't let you actually pass out by just standing up and holding your breath. He's all good, but scared the heck out of us. Have a great one.
I feel like that is the rarity, right?
So they were holding their breath just like standing outside, not in a
different.
pool,
Yeah,
right?
I think it's different in the pool for some reason. I almost feel like there's going to be something different at play.
Like I've never heard. Like, okay, this is.
I remember the pass out game we played at Camp Wekiva.
Everybody did that.
Yeah, everybody would fall on their head. Like I remember when that was going around rampant.
So I don't know if this is accurate, but this is, in my brain, this makes sense of how to find the truth. So I hear a story like this, and then I think to myself, could my sons, because they do hold your breath competitions all the time, and and it's been our fear, and especially my wife, because she's more fearful than I am,
sense.
That they will faint somehow underwater because they're trying to push themselves too long holding their breaths. And I always say, well, we never hear about that, and I figured the news or someone on social media would be like, "Oh, this kid dies from trying to hold his breath too long underwater, and he passed out, he died." I never heard that, and I've never heard any fear mongering of that. So that tells me it doesn't
Probably
even
not a thing.
Never happens, because if it did happen, even a couple times, we would hear stories about it on the news, and then everybody would be, well, including my wife, terrified of them ever holding their breath, to the point of like, never hold your breath underwater, keep your head above, because she's irrationally fearful.
I think there might be something to us being in water that changes the way that our body takes I don't know.
Now-
I think there's just something else there that we don't know about.
What is real is like shallow water blacking out, but that usually happens with like deep divers or whatever. And you go down, you hold your breath for a long time, and then you come up,
The pressure change.
and then you black out with like 3 feet from the surface.
Right.
But that's some competition or deep diving. They're
Right.
trying to set some record.
Again,
They're 100 feet or whatever.
Again, your timing and your change of pressure is going to make you pass out.
They're not just down there holding the metal step thing like we used to do when we were kids, like to get down and hold your breath for as long as you can.
Yeah.
Because
What was the longest you could hold your breath? I got to about a minute. My dad could go a minute plus. And he was old lifeguard smoker. I always thought that was weird that he had really good breath control. He could do our pool. We had a vinyl liner pool. He could go back and forth, and it was just like a normal small Florida pool, but he could go back and forth without coming up 3 different times. He'd go back, forth, back, forth,
It's the
back, and then he'd pop up. And I'd be like, "Oh my God, you're a superhero!"
yeah, the old death. I do that with my sons.
I'm like,
I can
Aquaman.
Yeah, I can go back and forth 3 times. They're like, no, you can't. And I do it.
And it's
they're
so
super
impressive. I do it to Maisie. She's
yeah.
like, yeah, whatever. She don't care. Nothing impresses her. She's like, and then she'll counter me with something like, I'm going to be taller than you next year. I'm like, Jesus, go after yourself.
But even with all our dads doing that back in the day,
I was impressed.
No, you never hear about the dad. Dad dies trying to impress the son.
It's not a thing.
Even because, and I've done the move where you start convulsing because you're trying to hold as long as you can. I've never even come close to all of a sudden losing vision and fainting. So
I've been doing that all morning, and that's just walking around.
So it's not a thing, right? I mean,
I don't think it is.
Right?
I agree with you.
I don't think it's a thing.
Let's try this one. This voicemail right here.
What is up, Tom, Dan, and Sam? This is Danny, your local BDM band director. Just listened to the BDM show and heard how Dan wants to fulfill his Lizzo dream here. I can get you a flute. That's easy. Would love to see you do your best Lizzo impression. Put that thing on TikTok for some content. So let me know. I'll get you a flute.
There we go. We got the flute.
We got it.
Flute has arrived. The trumpet has arrived. He gave us nice instruments.
I hope he stole that from some kids.
From his actual class.
And they're going to
No, I mean from a bus stop. I see these kids everywhere. He pulls out. He's like, "Hey, kids!" They're like, "It's a pedophile." He's like, "No, I'm not a pedophile. Give me your instruments."
Because I did, and we're going to play it tomorrow on Friday.
We'll
Free
see
Show.
if we can play.
But,
I don't know.
They're in a nice case, and I can recognize a quality trumpet, and that's I think trumpets they were like $600 back in the '90s. So what are they now?
I mean, they were enough.
$4,000.
They're enough to make your dad complain about it, right?
Yeah. I remember the rental fee was like $30 a month. That my mom rented. There was like a rent to own. And she rented the trumpet for 2.5 years before it was paid off. At $30 a month.
I remember we had a kid that had a tuba, and he would take it to and from school.
Oh, man.
And I always felt really bad for him because it was ginormous, and his parents were renting it. And the rental fee was more expensive. I want to say his rental fee was $80. I'm like, that's a lot.
It's a gigantic instrument.
It was huge.
That is a lot of the instruments. I
think we can retire the tuba, right?
Well, you learn how to play it, and then it's a waste, right? You never play the tuba again.
No, you normally transition to being a bass player in a metal band. Every tuba player that I know look, you could get mad at me for telling the truth, but that's fine. That's on you. But tuba players are usually fat black guy or tall metalhead. That's it.
Why?
I didn't know any tuba players.
Yeah, both of my tuba players were either fat black guy. Then he transitioned into doing hip hop or writing his own music, right?
Yeah.
And then metalhead, he'll transition to just playing bass in a metal band because he can read bass music, right? It's just the way. It's what happens.
I'm surprised.
I still talk to the bass player that was the tuba player. I still name is John. He still lives in DeLand. I still know the guy. He still has long hair. Yeah.
I'm surprised
he still loves Iron Maiden. To this day, still loves Iron Maiden.
Are there any tuba players in any ska bands? I know Hurricane Party's coming up. A lot of ska bands.
The only way that tuba gets cool is if you have kind of like what Trombone Shorty's doing, or the Roots sometimes will bring their tuba out.
It's a mini tuba, right? Like they have a miniature one. Or,
Like a, maybe
You know what? Tropidelic sometimes has tuba.
really?
Yeah, they'll do like a marching band type
right.
song
Almost
in
like a
between their
second
sets.
line,
Yeah.
like a traditional
exactly.
New Orleans second line style.
Because
And
the
that's where
trombone player knows how to play tuba too,
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
pretty much. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's also a bass instrument. It'd be like you're reading like bass music,
Yeah.
you know.
I was asking Daniel if he could read flute like music.
I can, but I can't. I wouldn't know what I'm touching. You know, like I wouldn't know what note it correlates to on the flute. But I could. You know, every good boy does fine, and you know, face. Yeah, I know how to read where the music is, but I wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would need
give me 2 weeks.
a picture.
I could put a Tom Van on that and say, if you gave me 2 weeks, I could probably slowly read flute music.
If you gave me the picture of where the finger placements go on the trumpet underneath a note, it'll come back to me a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, enough to get through some
What
sort of
if
simple
this
song.
becomes
Well, we're going
our
to test
thing.
this out, right?
What if this
I played
becomes
trumpet
our
for
thing?
like 3 years.
I played flute for like 3 years. What if this becomes our thing? What if we become the flute and trumpet boys?
That's what I want.
I'm gonna keep it like a flute and trumpet boy, and we got to get crazy hair. What's gonna be our? We need.
Well, I got to face that too.
You know what? I saw their hair now. The two Island Boys, their haircut is like the tall guy in the Gorillas. The mean the angry guy that's the cartoon character in the band, the fictional
yeah,
band. I know
yeah,
this
yeah.
sounds crazy, but okay, if you look at the Island Boys and you look at the taller, gremlin-y looking mean guy from the band the Gorillas, not the bigger
coming to
black
town,
guy.
by the way.
Yeah, I want to see him. Not the bigger black guy and not the skinny like girl kind of
Yeah,
like
the cartoon giant.
but the
gorilla.
cartoon giant angry man they have his haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same haircut. They look like villains. They look like double villains. And I'm all for it. But anyway, what's our haircut going to be when we do trumpet and flute?
Well, we have to go through some and figure out what sticks. You know, we'll do it on TikTok.
What's your name going to be?
Trumpet Tommy.
I'm Kodiak flute. I'm Flutiac. I'm Flutiac Black.
All right, Flutiac Black.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. What's something cooler than Trumpet Tommy?
You got to use. Yeah, I'm Flutiac Black.
Why you got a
Flute
cool
Attack.
one?
No, I'm Flute Attack Black.
Flute Attack.
Yeah, I'm Flute Attack Black. What's your name? I'm going to get my twists. I'm going to get crazy hair.
Or Tornado Tommy.
Why do you keep going throwing Tommy on the end? It's not creative
Because
at
of
all.
disalliteration.
Yeah. Everything's got to be named
Yeah.
Tommy in my world.
Well, that doesn't sound
Tommy's
good.
world. We're just living
I'll
in
name my
it.
dog Tommy. Anything Tommy.
You're like George Foreman, a podcast.
Oh my God.
You're gonna look.
Yeah. I got one good idea.
That's not gonna work. So it's Tornado Tommy and Flute Attack Black.
Yeah. I like it. All right. Let's get out of here. Bye-bye. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha, our producer's here. Hello, Sam.
Hello.
Is that a new semantic shirt? I've never seen the tie-dye.
It's not new. I just stole it from my husband's closet.
You've been doing that a lot lately. Okay, so if you're following along at home,
Yeah.
you've stolen this shirt. You stole
Tampa Bay Lightning
Tampa Bay
shirt,
Lightning, and
yeah.
then one other one.
I'm sure
You've
I
been
did.
stealing his
Yeah.
clothing. You know what? I haven't seen him in a minute. Is he alive?
No comment.
All right. We have a guest here who is certainly alive, and it's very good to see this person because I feel like we haven't seen him in years. But it's been about a year, probably, because when we fringe, typically the number one person we go to fringe with would be our friend Michael Wanzi, and he is here to talk about the second part of your... is this... Sam and I were a little confused. Is this the first time that you've done a one-man show? And
It
I was
is.
like, really?
Yes.
Yeah, I was surprised by that.
Yeah,
Yes.
we were like, that can't be right because...
In Onesie with a Z, which was my life story done a few years ago, there were 3 actors, of which I was one, and 2 other actors playing me at younger ages.
But this one, now this is part 2. It's a Onesie with a Z, part 2, the rave years. You can see it at the Silver Venue. It's $15, and the 25th, 28th, 29th, 8:15, 6:45, and 12:15 p.m. That would be the matinee. I urge everybody to go out and see it. This one is the one I want to see because it has ecstasy,
That's correct.
and I love ecstasy.
Yeah, so do I. And it's just a big commercial to try and convince everyone else that they're wrong not to love ecstasy.
Tom, you've never done ecstasy.
I haven't.
Sam, never
I've
done
never
ecstasy.
done it. Always wanted
It's
to.
just
Yep.
you and I, buddy.
Well, I can't tell you, I'm getting emails from like 60-year-old people saying, can you hook me up after the show, honestly.
It's the best brand named drug.
It is.
Yeah. Like I figure all
weed. That sounds disgusting, right? Weed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Weeds are notoriously bad.
heroin sounds.
Bad.
Yeah.
Or a female hero, which there are no such thing.
Take that.
It's like we're gonna name this drug ecstasy. It's like, well, goddamn.
And I will
Doesn't get
say,
better than that.
the first time I took ecstasy, look, I'm not trying to get people to do drugs, but I took ecstasy, and I'm just going to be honest with you and say that it was great. Felt great.
So, yeah, this show is all about my late life discovery of ecstasy because I was in my 40s before I did my
Really?
first hit. Yeah.
No way.
I haven't stopped since. Now I'm 65, and I'm the oldest guy on the dance floor, but I'm at every rave I can get to.
All right. It's funny, too, because there was a documentary, I want to say like 10 or 15 years ago, about how ecstasy was becoming more popular with a more mature age group. Not necessarily old, because I wouldn't even classify you as old or me as old, but with people that are not kids. You know, when you think
Correct.
drugs, you think 18 to 21 or, 16 to 25, right?
Yeah.
But there was a documentary, and I can't remember what it was, but they were talking about how it's very popular within like a more mature community.
It was a Peter Jennings special on ecstasy, and we have clips from the show, video in my show.
Oh, awesome.
Yes. It was sort of a tutorial at the beginning for people who have no touchstone to what this is about. We do some video first from the Phil Donahue show and the Peter Jennings report and to kind of give you a primer before I come on stage with the live portion, which is about an hour long. And every story I tell is word for word, absolutely true, involves all local happenings, and I name names.
All right.
That's awesome.
Let's talk raves for a second, Wanzi. Because
I've never been to one. You ever been to a rave?
Not really.
Yeah, I can't say that I've ever been to one where somebody would I've been to parties where dance music's on, but I want to go to like a rave where people this is
Lock you in a warehouse.
categorically is a rave.
so like music festivals, Electric Daisy Carnival type deals.
I wouldn't have even thought you knew the name of that. I'm very proud of you.
I feel like you need the aid of ecstasy to make these particular events worth it, right? Because without ecstasy, it feels to me like you're not getting the full experience or you're not doing it right. Like if you're just sober at a rave, it feels like 90% of why you're there is taken away.
I've always thought that. Well, how did you get in? Does that spoil
Tom,
anything?
for someone who hasn't done it, you certainly have a good understanding.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they're just standing there, looking around, everybody's like, grinding their teeth with his shirt off, and like,
Why are you grabbing your nipples?
That's what I imagine you doing.
One of the things I say in the show is about how, when you're at a rave and you're on ecstasy, you look around you and all you see is fine-looking people experiencing the joy of dance, and that's what they see in you. But when you choose to do ecstasy in a situation where most other people are not doing it, that's not what they see in you. Apparently what they see in you is very different and evidently quite disturbing.
Well, I was going to ask you because...
Okay. You know what? You explained that, perfectly. If that gives us just a little microcosm of what we can expect when we see the show,
Exactly.
I think that this is going to be great.
Well, it's like because other drugs, they have their stereotypes. Like, so let's say, this kind of leads me into my other question about ecstasy. So like, let's say weed, right? Like, there's certain stereotypes about weed and like the perfect place to be high or like what stoners do.
Normally it's the beach, right?
It's like I guess you're out in nature or whatever and you're stoned or whatever. But really, I'm trying to think of other like places to be high in the movies or whatever, like
jury
Anywhere.
duty.
Theme park.
Yeah.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like you could be high
park's
on
a good
THC. Like
Ride
your
that
kids,
Guardians ride when you're high.
your kids play morning, anywhere. Like it enhances everything, right? Or it makes every situation better, in my opinion. Does that work with ecstasy? Because stereotypically, it's primarily been you're going to like
recreational
EDC or like a rave or something, and that's where people do ecstasy. I never really hear like people doing ecstasy when they're at the fair or like other places.
Well, are you aware that there were raves every year inside Disney theme parks?
No, actual raves.
I didn't
Yes.
know that.
Yeah. So you need to come see the show.
Okay, so
Interesting.
Actually, when you know what all the
Sam's light bulbs are going. You're about to
I'm
blow,
ready to go.
You're about to blow your Afro poofs out.
all these Christian organizations who are homophobic were trying to get people like to boycott Disney because of gay days and whatnot, and they would show footage of people going crazy. But what they wouldn't tell you is that was after hours, after the park was closed to the general public, at a private ticketed event being put on by a party producer specifically geared toward the ecstasy-taking crowd. So One Mighty Party happened every year at Disney MGM Studios. I do a whole section on that party. And when you take ecstasy, your entire body experiences what's called enhanced sensory perception. So when you plunge down the Tower of Terror or go through the black light effects on Rock and Roller Coaster, while you're actually rolling, it is a F and mind F.
Yeah. It's like,
Yes.
Your
Yes.
it like enhances all your senses.
Yes.
Right? And that's why people want massages.
Correct.
And things like that.
Everything feels better. It gives you the opportunity to focus on any one thing. And we just don't realize in our daily life. I mean, there's nothing you can't even drive. You're seeing advertisements on cars, trucks,
Bombarded,
billboards. You've got the radio on, everything. Ecstasy allows you to clear your mind and then focus on only one thing. So besides the fact that it elevates your serotonin levels, so touch feels better. But you then, if someone is like massaging you, you have this ability on ecstasy to block out everything else, and for the first time in your effing life, concentrate on just one thing. How does this massage feel?
You need it.
So
Tom needs it.
Yeah.
He needs it medically.
And the same reason for the music. It sounds. It's almost like the music is emanating from inside you, and it's like impossible not to get up and dance because you're so moved by everything.
You've heard me talk about the story of me being on ecstasy, and you guys all make fun of it, but how I sat in front of my stereo and I listened to Depeche Mode's Violator album.
And you heard things you never heard before.
Yep. He obviously, this man knows his ecstasy because I sat there and analyzed the synthetic bass line that whomever he was playing with his left hand on the keyboard, and I played the one song probably for an hour, just basically figuring out how it was done, how it was layered, and it allowed me. That makes sense.
I have a friend who I get together with on a regular basis. All by ourselves, just the two of us. We do hit of ecstasy, and we each have our playlist of things that we want to share with the other. And you listen to a song that you have heard and sung along to unconsciously while you're driving all your life. And suddenly, for the first time, you understand what the lyrics mean. And suddenly, you're listening to a symphonic piece, and you can, pick out the piccolo and go, oh, my God, that piccolo. It's just nuts. And we can spend an entire 4, 5, 6 hour roll doing nothing but sitting there
Sounds
listening
great.
to music. Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing, is I'm not going to say it was bad because I haven't experienced a bad version of that. Mm-hmm. What I didn't like, if we're just being real about it, though, I didn't like buying it from the drug dealer guy. I didn't like having him test it in front of me.
Yeah.
I'm like, test that in front of me, and sure enough, he had some kid. Here's the funny thing. He had a kid. He said, I'll test it in front of you. I didn't know what he was testing or what he was doing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, yeah,
it could have been positive for heroin. I don't know.
What he's going to put a dab of Kool-Aid. I don't know what he's doing. But my point is that part is the part I dislike.
Well, that you can thank the government for. MDMA, which is the actual name of the drug, is MDMA, was completely legal, and people were doing it, and without any problem. And then the Reagans got into office and decided they were going to launch their Just Say No drug campaign, and it's been discovered now, and this is absolutely true, they paid doctors as much as $500,000 to lie about the effects of ecstasy and the damage that it does to your spine and your brain. All of it completely made up, completely untrue.
I remember the spine thing. Yeah, don't do a lot of ecstasy. Your spine will turn to juice. It'll turn to liquid.
Exactly.
Liquefy your spine.
Craziness like that. None of it's true. Absolutely none of it's true. It is probably the most innocuous drug you can take. The worst thing you can say about ecstasy is that for most people it induces the unconscious grinding of your teeth. So you suck on something or you chew gum or something to keep from grinding your teeth. That's it.
Well, here's how you know it's safe: is they use it to treat people with PTSD and it's like they're using it medically to treat people that are having problems in like small doses or whatever it is. So it's like it can't be that dangerous.
In the UK, they prescribe it to people who are going through divorce counseling, marriage counseling, because MDMA. It's like almost impossible to lie when you're on MDMA.
Oh, truth serum.
And it breaks
Well,
down.
that's what the counselors were using it for.
It breaks down your defenses and makes you be open and receptive to things that you don't block anything out, and they find it useful for getting people to come to terms with each other. It's almost all positives and very little negatives.
And I think they actually did use the term truth serum when maybe they did test in the military, because it's been around for a very long time.
Some people believe that the genesis of it is when Germany was trying to develop a truth serum in World War II. Whether or not that's verifiable or not, I don't know, but that's one of the beliefs.
Interesting. Like, how did you...
Nazis made ecstasy? That's what I heard.
It's the only good thing they did. When you think back to like all the stories that obviously are in Wanzi with the Z Part 2, the rave years, that I urge all of you to go and see, do you cover how you discovered it for the first time? Is that something you handle, or is that something you can talk about here? I just don't want to
spoil the show.
No. I talk about... I describe the very instance where I did it for the first time and what...
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because mine is, unfortunately, I was walking my dog. I had a Dalmatian at the time. We took a lot of dog walks that night. So much, in fact, that his pads got very raw, and I felt like a guilty owner. But yeah, I remember when I did it for the first time. Like, I remember doing it, and I remember like doing it with other people, and I remember it was like almost like a... like, hey, we're going. Like, we were preparing.
Yes,
you get your snacks, and we're going to do it.
Well, I had a group of professional friends who couldn't be seen out rolling at local clubs and stuff. So we started doing house parties, which we started calling Midnight Teddy Bear Picnics. And we had a toy box. I tell the story in the show. And everyone contributed items to the toy box so that we had lasers and black lights and star projectors and everything. And everyone took turns hosting house parties, and you pass the toy box around to create a little rave situation in the home. But and back then there were clubs like Heaven, you remember, and various places where you could go after hours, and it was specifically for that. And remember, Orange County came out with no dancing after 2 ordinance to try and crack down on the ecstasy. Oh my God, it was crazy. No dancing. No dancing. They actually passed an ordinance that there could be no dancing.
What year was that?
God, I can't exactly remember.
Yeah, this isn't it's happening.
Yeah, but every year for Gay Days, which happens around the first weekend in June every year, party producers from all over the country come here and rent facilities and put on raves, and people come from around the world. It's called the circuit. There are very affluent gay people who travel the circuit and go from city to city and country to country attending raves, and they all come here in June.
So what do you need for a good rave, Wanzi? Because I've never been to a rave.
Maybe we should
rave essentials.
Maybe we should do a Tom and Dan rave this year.
Yes, please.
Let's do a BDM
and
rave.
Let me be the consultant.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what we're doing. We're going to need one.
Okay,
but it sounds fun as hell.
So this is, in my mind, this is what you need. You need a large open area, like a club or some like huge area where the dance floor people can congregate.
How about this place at Izzy Bond?
Where the after hours rave for years. There's the raves that happen that will start like at 8 o'clock after the theme park closes at 7.
Yeah.
But then there's always an after hours rave that doesn't start until midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning and doesn't end until 8 a.m. And that was always at Arabian Nights. And they would literally go in every single day in the morning and cover that dirt arena dance floor. Dirt arena that the horses perform on with a dance floor, and hoist up all the rigging and the lights and the lasers and everything.
Wow.
And then 3,000 gay men come in and
Dance the night away.
dance until and one of the funniest stories in my
insane amount of work. They put the dance floor on the dirt and
I never knew this.
every night.
Every day.
That's
for
crazy.
4 or 5 days.
Yeah, and I bet you if you saw how much money you could make doing it, you'd be down there putting down the
exactly.
floor too. And you and I'd be doing, put this floor down for these gay dudes got to be dancing on these horse legs.
Well, they don't put it down. The gay dudes put it down. The gay party puts it down. They bring everything in themselves. Same thing at Disney. There are raves that happen inside Disney theme parks.
That's so cool.
And for years, my favorite has been the one called One Mighty Party. Every year at Disney, at the time, Disney MGM Studios, and they all actually close down the rides right on time. They push everyone out as quickly as possible out the front. And then the people who have tickets to the rave are actually brought in through the side at the back of the park where there's a cocktail reception first while the event producers are setting up all the lighting trusses and stuff to turn Hollywood Boulevard into an outside dance floor. And they do a second dance floor in front of the Rock and Roller Coaster, 2 separate DJs. They give Disney the techno trance house music that's popular for the day and pay them like who knows how many hundreds of thousands of dollars to create the fireworks like they normally do, but to synchronize to the music that's going to speak to
Really?
the
Awesome.
I mean,
I've never heard of this.
It's crazy. And
Hold on, no one's ever said like, "Hey, have you seen the raves that go on to Disney?"
I know.
No one's ever said it.
People don't believe it. And one of the things that they do is Disney is so aware of what's going on and so on board with the money they can make from it that it's in the contract that the event producer has to hire a company called MedEvent, and that's a company that brings doctors to these events who themselves do the drug, so they know what they're contending with, and they specialize in dealing with drug-related medical emergencies on site so that people aren't going to local emergency rooms for a drug-related event that can be traced back to a Disney park.
Keep it in-house. Genius.
So the Hollywood Brown Derby restaurant becomes a triage center during this event. And as I say in the play, and not to give to him, but I want to make the point, no one who's just doing ecstasy requires triage. It's the people who make the ill-advised choice to mix it with cocaine or meth or G or ketamine or whatnot. And those are the people who end up.
I mean,
nobody's in the triage because, although if you come see the play, you'll find out why I ended up there.
There you go. Well, give them just enough, and I'm going to take that away.
But just going back to a
silver
regular
menu, $15.
Yeah.
Onesie with a Z, Part 2, the rave years. Sell the tickets, buy the tickets.
I have a show tonight at 10:15.
There you go, 10:15. But you need a button. Don't show up without a button.
Well, you go online. It's Orlando Fringe, FRINGE, all one word, orlandofringe.org. Just click on tickets and then look for the Onesie with a Z, the rave years logo. It does say Part 2. It's a standalone show. It has nothing to do with Part 1. Just capitalizing on the title because it's sold out.
Dog's blown away. He's like, really? Disney raves? Really?
Onesie, just in your opinion, though, a rave, besides from the obvious DJ, right, or music aspect, which you have
These
to have.
are really good-looking people. Sam threw some pictures of the actual event in our chat room, and the chat room is devouring the photos, and we're going to need...
Man, it's slam-packed.
Yeah, these are all attractive...
Do you need
these are really attractive men.
Do you need any food? Are you not hungry when you're rolling?
No, you don't eat. Nobody eats.
Nobody
Stay
eats.
hydrated.
No.
Okay,
And
water.
you stay hydrated. And Disney would raise the cost of a bottle of water from, at the time, like they'll charge 3 times as much for water because people aren't drinking. Most people don't drink. And, a lot of people do, and there are bars there, but, most people are just taking water. And the issue with drinking is just that you don't feel the effects of it. And so people will keep drinking, and they drink 3 and 4 times more than they normally would because they're not feeling it because the ecstasy is overriding it. So then they get alcohol blood poisoning. So it's just best to to do water.
Gotcha.
Same thing happened to me. I was going through a rum phase. You know, I love the Captain Morgan and Diet Coke. That's like you're a big fan. And I remember because I was doing it alone. You know, I was like doing it just to kind of chill out and listen to music. But I remember looking over to my bottle of Captain Morgan and realizing that, whoa, wow, I'm going real. You cannot feel it.
You're not gauging.
You cannot feel it.
What about like lighted necklaces? Like imagine a lot of lights.
The whole point is
don't give me any cheap stuff. Though. Right. I want something nice.
A good party producer brings in the most amazing light and laser show you've ever seen in your life, and you can't just hire a normal disco DJ. You have to hire a DJ who is specifically gearing his music and what he's doing to the crowd, and a good circuit DJ will amp you up, ramp you up, get everybody into an absolute frenzy, then suddenly like everything goes black and the music just stops, and then just a violin comes in, and then it builds and builds and builds and builds, and an explosion, and then everyone is just, and like everyone is having the exact same experience at the exact same time. It's crazy.
It
looks like you're in.
Well, okay.
This
You
man's
familiar?
gonna leave his family and go Raven.
You familiar with the movie Blade 1?
Oh, you would have blood red.
Okay. Because when I watched that, I was young, and and then it builds up. The music builds, the rave builds, and Then when it hits the crescendo, the apex.
You hear like the horn of a semi or something. A train.
I've always, in my fantasy of doing ecstasy at a rave, whatever, I'm dancing, it's building up, and then at the crescendo, some sort of blood starts spraying out of all the sprinklers. It's not real blood, but it's just red.
Psychopath.
Maybe more like a foam party instead of blood.
I want some sort of wet to spray from the roof or the ceiling.
I'll cool you down,
and then we're dancing, and then it's a foam or water. Have you ever been to that?
Well, one of the things that's popular and is often done, which is why these things are so expensive to go to, but I would go often to a rave that's held at Hard Rock Live, and they 3 hours into it when everyone's sweating their balls off and the air conditioner practically isn't working anymore just because there's so many bodies squeezed into the room.
Yeah,
and everyone's
dancing,
jumping around. Right. They'll do some musical crazy thing, and then all of a sudden they let loose these giant CO2 canisters that just fill the entire room with ice cold fog, to the point that you can't see your hand in front of your face or see anyone else in there.
We are heterosexual people. We are not having fun.
And then you just stand there and you can't see anything. You're in this fog, and all of a sudden you're ice cold, and it feels so wonderful. And then they slowly start shooting the lasers through the fog.
Yes.
And it's just mind blowing.
So, Wanzi, let me ask you this. I don't want to
just be cold. Entertain me while I'm laser my fog, please.
I'm down with the music. I'm down with taking my shirt off.
You're down with the clown too. We love insane clown posse.
Down with the sickness.
I'm good with being sprayed with the CO2, the ecstasy.
He likes taking his shirt off.
Where are you at?
I love drugs. I just don't like.
He's a muscle boy now, and I think you're ready. I think you're ready for a
Wait a minute.
rave.
What's the part you don't like?
Well, I'm not a dancer. I don't like.
But you like tiny shorts.
Yes,
Did you know he's sponsored by Mojo Man Swimwear now?
No, I'm serious.
I wish he was. I've been putting this out in the universe. I want Mojo Man.
My God, I'll make that happen for you.
We like tiny shorts.
Yes.
We like tiny shorts, and I know that predominantly that they are like supplying like awesome swimwear for good-looking gay dudes.
I will speak to them.
We're losing weight, and we're like good-looking dads.
Not only that, they also now supply the vending machines in bars like Savoy, where I work, where you just put your credit card in and get your poppers.
All right,
I'm down with poppers.
We have a Tom and Dan vending machine. We need poppers. We need Mojo Man swimwear.
I'm down with all this.
Yeah, all of this is great.
Can I just go to the rave and just stand there
No.
and not
Okay,
twirl.
so here's the thing. All right, this
You gotta
is
twirl, man.
this is how I'm going to demonstrate how I'm usually dancing at a rave. But there would be a pacifier in my mouth.
Okay.
Yes.
I won't do that. That's what I do. I want to do
the
that.
swaying baby.
Pretty much it.
that's what I want.
Sway.
But as I say in that, can I swear on this or no?
Yeah, go ahead.
As I say in the show, I say, the music gets within you, and you simply cannot not get up and dance.
Okay.
For many people, this becomes an exercise in gymnastics. It's all around you. Twinks are bouncing about like so many spring-propelled tigers at a Winnie the Pooh dance-a-thon. But for people like myself, and then it's just sway back and forth, and I go, but in my mind, I think I'm busting moves like Michael Boy Jackson.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah, I'll go sway with you at a rave. I don't like that. But dancing.
put the passy
then you got the orb. You're doing the orb.
But so you'll be just swaying, but then you get caught up in the build, and even if it's completely against your personality type or something you wouldn't do, you will all of a sudden find yourself jumping. I
can jump. I can do a sway into a little jump. I can do that.
You're swaying on a little jump.
I'm down for this.
And the coolest thing about it is that it's just everywhere you look, anyone who meets your eye, you get back this acknowledgement of a shared experience. And so at the rave, yes, the majority of them are good-looking, svelte people who live to dance, who work out every day and don't eat any carbs. But then in the middle of them are people like me, and everybody smiles at you. Everyone is glad you're there. You have this mix of gay and straight people.
Yeah.
A lot of straight couples come to the gay raves because the man is comfortable that his wife isn't going to be hit on, and they just know that nobody does it better than gay people as far as the music and the sensory and the lights and everything. So so everyone comes, everyone's welcome.
That's awesome.
The gays throw the best parties. I mean, everybody knows that. Like, I want to go to way more gay parties.
And I'll add one more little stereotype on there. There's also a level of respect that I've always been treated with at any gay establishment that I've been in as a guest in like their space that's always been a little higher than most. It's always a little more respectful, a little nicer, a little like you're not going to feel weird.
Cleaner, safer.
Really, I know people will be like, yes, that is just the facts. Sorry, you need to try harder.
Well, Wanzi, good
we
luck
love
with
you,
the
man.
shows.
This sounds awesome.
You have to come in more often too, just to tell some stories.
Sure.
We'll do an uncensored show.
Yeah, Sam,
in closing, can I just remind people?
Please do whatever you need to do.
That if you're familiar with what the Fringe Festival is, it is an annual theater festival, and it is 2 weeks of 100 shows from around the world, and they are all happening simultaneously in 12 different theaters at the same time, most of them within walking distance of each other around Lockhaven Park, where the Science Center and the Museum of Art is. And then there's some downtown, the Abbey, Stardust, Savoy, whatever. Anyway, 12 theaters operating simultaneously during the week from about 5 to midnight, on the weekend from 11 in the morning until 1 in the morning. And you just run from show to show to show. In between, there are food trucks and a beer tent and a wine dispensary and whatnot. And it's 100 shows from around. We have shows here right now from Japan, from Australia, from the UK, from Canada, and all over America. It's not just local people. All the shows are mostly about an hour long, and you don't know what you're going to see. It's potluck. It's uncensored, unjuried. So it's 100% for the artist. 100% of the ticket money goes back to the artist, which is good. Yeah. So
when you spend that money, it's important to know that too. A lot of people, this money, like when you go and see Wanzi's stories, he benefits from that, which is a good thing.
And the festival itself is a non-profit organization. Nobody's trying to make a profit off of it. It's all about funding the artists. So that's orlandofringe.org for all your information. And my show is Wanzi with a Z, Part 2, The Rave Ears.
Yeah, and you could see it at the Silver Venue. Sam reminded us that, yes, when you're getting your tickets, there are buttons you can buy right there. Yep. You don't need to go to multiple places. Right. They make it very, very easy.
You can buy it online before you show up, too.
That's what I would do. Yeah. I always like to do that so you have everything squared away. But
and are we live right now?
Yeah, we're live.
Okay, so tonight at 10:15, I have a show which is like my suckiest time of the whole festival, at 10:15 on a Monday night. So if you're, the type of person who sleeps in, then come out tonight and join the party.
Yeah, that would be a good one
Awesome.
to hit up.
Well, Wanzi, thanks so much for coming.
Thank you
in,
for
man.
having me.
And again, we got to get you in just to tell some stories.
I'm game.
Yeah. And then maybe we'll just all sit around and do ecstasy.
Yeah, there you are.
Ecstasy cat.
Well,
Well, we're just sitting. That's what I'm saying. Like, can you do it and just go to work? Like, will it make work better?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I've
It makes everything better.
I've never
okay,
done
well-
it here. Normally, I'm just sneaking drinks here because of my alcoholism.
Well, why not we just do it every day?
The issue is that the effects of it come in waves. That's why they call it rolling. So you come up and then you go down and you have some quite introspective moments, and then you're all frenetic again, and so you don't really control where the roll takes you.
What do you think? Is that for you?
Not advisable to do it at work if you're like assembling like warheads or.
Most people's job.
Maybe on a radio show.
And it is warhead season. I mean, there are people making them. I mean, that's a thing.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Corporate Time. Welcome back to a Corporate Time.
Fringing.
We are fringing
Lots
this week.
of fringing going on.
And in fact, this is the last week of Fringe, so if you haven't checked out any shows, you should.
If you've been on the edge deciding of whether or not you wanted to go, now would be the time to decide, and I would go. Don't stay on the fence.
in studio to talk about a show called The Family Crow, a murder mystery. Adam's in studio. How you doing, Adam?
Hey, good. How are you guys?
So,
You
Adam,
gonna tell him that you call your wife the Crow?
oh, well, yeah, I was going to work that in.
I figured
But
I
now
just,
that you've spoiled it.
I figured I just blurt it out.
Yeah,
I just want to blurt it out.
yeah,
Oh, I didn't
yeah.
want him to be confused and think that you are dating the ghost of Brandon Lee.
No, she's always calling at me. Is that old? Yeah.
A lot of that.
That's what it sounds like in my head when she talks. But I want to talk about the show because reading the bio of the show sounds like the most insanely complicated thing
Can
I
I
could
just
possibly
read it? Will that be
imagine.
okay?
Yeah,
I'm just going to
that'll
read
save
it.
us some time.
A horrifying murder has occurred amidst the Crow family. One man and one puppet masterfully play all the characters in this murder mystery. From the bozo who brought you Baker's Dozen 12 Angry Puppets, Best Specialty Show 2017, and crowshow.ca if you want to check out more information. But yes, Tom, this sounds complicated.
So, well, let me ask you first off,
Okay.
and excuse me if I'm using the wrong term, but
What's
I kiss the sky. What the F going on? Excuse me while I break into this impromptu Jimi Hendrix riff.
well, I was gonna because ventriloquist or puppeteer.
What am I choosing? To kill? F, murder, kill.
Right.
Well, are they one and the same? Can you be one without the other?
That's a better question, yeah.
Because I imagine you could be a
I got a
puppeteer
conversation
without
with
a
my husband about
ventriloquist.
this literally yesterday, which is so weird.
Yeah, because I'm sure a lot of puppeteers aren't ventriloquists,
Right.
but all ventriloquists
Ven.
are.
You're a ventriloquist.
a ventriloquist?
Ventriloquist.
No, I write that down. 40 years old now. I've
blew
been
his
going
mind.
No, I just say it's
ventriloquist.
I don't know.
How many people have heard me say ventriloquist?
Yeah, well, his
no
last
one's ever
name is
corrected me.
Van, so he is a van
Ventriloquist.
good branding.
What do you consider yourself? Are you a puppeteer? Are you just a storyteller that happens to dabble in puppets? Or
Good question. So in terms of ventriloquism, I do not consider myself a ventriloquist. I consider myself a puppeteer. I can do ventriloquism, but it's not really.
oh my God, you sound just like Johnny Depp on trial. His voice.
Oh no!
Yeah, no, it's a good thing. Oh, he's back,
Is
and everybody.
Johnny Depp a secret Canadian?
Everybody
Is that-
loves him now. Y'all, my neighbors are
right.
Canadian. They're so nice.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to Stu and Sue. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, so I don't consider myself a ventriloquist. Most of the stuff I do is puppetry where the mouth moves, and why I don't know. I'd have to think about that. It's probably like when you're doing ventriloquism, people are just looking at you like, are his lips gonna
Can I
move?
see his mouth? Yeah.
They're
and
trying
then-
to find the magic
Waiting to
trick.
fail. Like,
Yeah.
they're waiting for you to mess up.
Exactly. And when you're doing at least the kind of stuff I'm trying to do, right? When you're doing theater and storytelling, people, you want them to pay attention, not just be looking at your lips, being like,
Sure.
did they move?
I like crossing my arms and saying, I can see his throat moving.
what a pronounced
I'm not sure
Adam's
this is
apple.
real.
Yeah, exactly right. and I've lost track of the other half of the question. It was
puppeteer.
They're long
yeah.
questions.
Yeah, I know.
sorry.
They're really purposeless. Let's just hang out.
Sure.
Yeah. So how'd you even get into this? Like, how'd you get into puppeteering?
So the first thing is I worked here in Orlando in the parks as part of the college program when I was, just in university. Nice. So I kind of got like some base level training there. But then the real answer is I live in Toronto. And when I moved there, I was in the first Canadian cast of a show called Avenue Q. I don't know if you know Avenue Q.
Yeah,
indeed.
I've heard of Avenue Q.
Indeed.
Yeah. So, and that kind of started the ball rolling. That was a very successful production. And
that's the top tier puppet show, right?
That's what you want to do. And I, I hadn't really considered it. And there were a couple years where I was like, oh, I don't really want to, be the puppet guy. I don't want people to be like, oh, yeah, that's Adam. He does puppets. And now I'm just like, hi, my name's Adam. I'm the puppet guy. It's just quicker, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have to do voices? Do you have to change?
Sure,
Because your natural speaking voice, I think that's why I gravitated to it's very pleasing. I like it.
That's nice.
You have a good cadence. It sounds like I could... I don't know. I'll listen to people when I hear it. I'll be like, "Oh man, that's good." Like he's like just the way you kind of. I don't even know how to articulate what I'm saying. It's like the way you present your words is proper.
It's kind of like I can kind of tell you're from Canada, but not really.
Yeah,
I don't think people from Canada can tell I'm from Canada. It's like this weird mix of like acting school where they try and beat any accent out of you. Plus, I'm from like Northern Ontario, which is kind of rural, small town.
Right.
And then I live in Toronto now, and then I spend a lot of time here in Orlando, so you got that twang there too. There's a lot going on.
How do you go about acquiring your puppets? Do you make them?
I make them all.
Yeah, most puppeteers, and we know who was the gentleman that gave me Mr. Snarts?
Forgot his name.
I think his name is Matt. A lovely man, and he made us both puppets, and they're incredible. I should have brought mine in. My daughter has taken a liking to it, and she keeps it in the case, like super nice, and puts it away and stuff like that. But like when you look at these things, they're truly works of art. Like, is that something you had to teach yourself, or is that something you kind of dabbled with, or
totally taught myself? Yeah, there's a fair amount of generosity within. I mean, to call it the puppetry community seems a little ridiculous, but the group of us who do puppets, and so there's generosity. People, when I first started, gave me patterns or little tips and things. And now that I've been at it like 7 years, I'm a little bit better at it. And this crow is certainly different than most of the stuff I do, which is sort of the Henson mouth style stuff. It's sort of foam and fabric. This one's like more hard and marionette like. And I developed this one in Australia. I was doing an artist residency in Melbourne with a company called the Puppet Smithery, and with them I kind of worked on this puppet.
I follow a lot of puppeteers and like unconventional puppeteers on Instagram and TikTok. I know you think I'm lying. There's one guy in particular, Barnaby. I think his name's Barnaby Dixon.
Barnaby Dixon.
Yeah, Barnaby Dixon. And I knew he'd know the name because there are certain people when you look in those industries and you look at what they do and you're like, holy crap! Like that's not just puppetry, or that's not like when you're talking about forming this new crow puppet. Did you have to hit up somebody for like research on that, or did you just try trial and error, like making a different styled puppet?
Yeah, it's there's a video on crowshow.ca where I kind of show the history of it. So Puppet Smithery has this way of making puppets where they make everything out of trash, like newspaper and cups and elastics and tape and stuff. Yeah. And that's a good way of seeing, like, does it kind of work? And then you go from there. So that's sort of how I developed it. But yeah, I mean, it's just throwing stuff at the wall until it sticks, right?
See if it works.
And honestly, partly because of the pandemic, I just had this puppet sort of on my shelf in my studio for a year, and I would just stare at it, and then after this many months, you're like, oh, I hate this about it, and then you fix that, and then oh, I hate that about it, and then I fix that.
Right.
Is there a traditional, like a hand placement as opposed to a modern day hand placement inside the puppet as far as working the puppet's mouth? Like inside, everybody imagines like, sock puppet. Like as you open thumb and the rest of your
There's
fingers,
a loop,
that's the mouth, right?
That's the mouth.
And so, are there different styles internally that we're not seeing, where you're actually working eyelids or other things, or like more complication that we're not seeing? Because everybody's just thinking, open your hand and shut it.
For sure. When I teach puppetry, the first thing I do, especially with that style of puppet, like the sort of Henson style, I make people put the puppet on and say, all right, let's just get this out of our system. Let's just waggle the dolly, as we say, and then we can move on. So this crow puppet is actually it's a rod puppet. It's got triggers on it that move the mouth and the wings and stuff. So it's not that style. But with that style, I think if you look at a lot of like TV puppeteers and pro puppeteers, you're going to see like a lot more relaxed than you think. And the top of the hand, puppets on a podcast, man. But the top of the hand,
Puppets on a Podcast was the original name of the show.
but the top of the hand is like kind of looser and a little more curved, and it's not actually flapping up. You got the thumb moving down because you want to keep, like, especially on TV, you want to keep those eyes staring at camera or staring forward. And the last thing you want.
Okay, yeah.
It's hard.
Just a little bit that we tried in here to keep it on our web cameras. Like there was no way. Like, give us a week, no way. Give us 2 weeks, not going to happen.
Well, and then the thing that a lot of people don't realize about television puppetry is you've got your monitor, but it's reversed. Like, it's not flipped like if you're doing a selfie on your iPhone, right? So, like, if you're moving your puppet to the right, it goes to your left on the screen. So, like, that's a whole thing that you have to kind of get used to as you're working in TV.
I can't even do that when I'm trying to take a selfie of myself. I'm like moving, like most people can't do that.
Yeah.
This may be crazy, but every time I see like any puppet on TV and they're talking, like if they're on SNL or they're doing local news or whatever, the scene where like the newscaster is talking to Kermit or whatever, the puppet. Right?
Yeah, I was watching Holy Moly last night. Kermit the Frog was talking to Rob Riggle.
Yeah. And so all I could think about is the fact that there is a grown person underneath there, but just like essentially staring at the person's crotch, because they're down below the table, and I'm like, it must be awkward for the human down there to be crotch level with the person as they're, you know what I'm saying? It's weird,
absolutely.
Right?
And usually it's like, hi, good to meet you. All right, down we go. Right?
So is that awkward? Like if you're doing some media and they're like, they want you to bring the puppets, then you're like down there. On the bottom near their feet and crotch.
Yeah, it is weird.
It's kind of weird. The funny thing is, especially if they're like non-puppet people, right? Just like, normal muggles in the world who are coming to do this scene with the puppet, they pay full attention to the puppet. So all you are is some awkward furniture that they're trying to maneuver around, to the point where I finish on set some days and, I see the other talent leaving and I wave hello and they're like, hi.
Yeah. Like, there's no operator at that point.
Yeah,
exactly. Let's talk to the star. Where's the crow at?
It's weird how easy it is.
And kudos to your staff for doing that. They're, that's the way it should be.
Absolutely.
I figure, like, our human brains are so dumb that, after a while, you're just talking to a puppet. Like, it just was no different. Like, I'm talking to this puppet.
I'll be honest with you.
You forget.
I'll go back to my example, watching Holy Moly. When Rob Riggle was talking to Pepe the Shrimp or Pepe the Prawn, who is now, I didn't know he was in the Mafia. I guess he's always been in the mafia, Pepe the Shrimp.
He's always got that gold chain on.
Yeah, and he's
tracksuits, gold chain. It adds up.
And they kidnap Steph Curry, and I'm watching that. Oh, sorry, spoiler alert. And I thought Pepe was real. Like, I might as well have been, right? I was like, he's just another character on the show, just as interesting than anything else. Yeah,
I will tell you, because when we had that puppeteer make us puppets, and I'm like,
Maisie loves it. It's in rotation in the toys in my house.
Any kid, like my friends' kids that come over and then see it, they all gravitate towards that first.
It's sandbox. It's open world. There's no limitation to it. You can make it any character you want it to be, and it can do anything you want it to
But like in a infinite amount of toys that we have in the playroom with a
most kids grow up with puppets, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it be the Muppets, Sesame Street. I mean, you kind of start out with puppets.
Like nowadays, it's so diluted that it's not like when we grew up with Sesame Street. Like my boys rarely watch.
Okay, I'll go a step further. I think it's evolution. I think it's evolutionary. I think if you take that puppet and throw it in your kid's playroom and just invite rando kids over, 9 times out of 10, the kids are going to find the puppet and all gravitate to it. I don't know why. I can't explain it, but there's something in our DNA.
Bringing a character to life or something.
I had a collection of puppets. My mom was an educator, so she was always teaching. She was a librarian, and she had a series of puppets that she would use to do lessons. Well, those would come home with her, so I'd get to play with all of them, and she had tons of them. Like 20, 25 different puppets. Yeah, we had frogs. We had the one that was like a pink bunny rabbit, big ones, little ones, for all different holidays. We had Santa Claus. We had Halloween.
I think part of it is that, when you're a kid, you don't want, it's like, oh yeah, I want the genie from Aladdin or whatever, and then you get the genie from Aladdin and it says Aladdin on it, or, it's like, no, I just want I want the real thing. I don't want the heavily branded thing with a tag on it. That's stupid.
Yeah, I think you're right. Maybe there is some almost a natural like a natural sloughing of like, don't give me this gross corporate thing. Let me use a little bit of my imagination to create a character of my own.
Oh, Adam, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this person, but and Daniel will know what I'm talking about. But it used to be a bigger thing. I rarely see him anymore. But it used to be like every time you were at like a boardwalk at the beach or some populated like St. Augustine, you're walking the streets, there would always be an old man that had what appeared to be a fake tiny ferret that he would manipulate with his hands.
Well, these people are pedophiles.
And people would go over. It was old man with like, it was only can be described as a fluffy tail with like a mouse head, and it would be like a fake ferret that he would manipulate.
But he could make that thing.
Yes,
it would go all around his body.
Yeah.
And then he'd say, "Hey, come over here, rub my thigh." And I'd be like, "I don't know, man. My dad's not here. My dad went into the hot sauce store."
Either he wanted some sort of tips, or he'd be selling the ferret in the box for you to buy, or something like that.
Yeah, it was like a magic trick.
Yeah, it was like a magic. Well, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they would
just
sell them at
one.
like mall kiosks and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, it was like the fake ferret that you would
Then
make.
it became a perfume kiosk, and they're spraying me. I'm like, God, I smell like a whore.
Is that a form of puppeteering, or no?
I think you're insulting our guests.
I'm sorry.
No.
I don't think so at all, because like there's a lot of times where like if it's a commercial or something like and they need to make a, I don't know, like a water bottle move, like something's happened, like it's come to life or something, they'll call in a puppeteer, right? Or usually, more accurately, what'll happen is they'll get a crew member to try it for a day, then the next day they will emergency call in a puppeteer because it just looks like crap.
Yeah, because the puppeteer understands how to emulate the movement so that it tricks people's heads to believe that it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're just tricking our human psychology, because the movements emulate a person so much that it's like, oh, I'm talking to Kermit.
Yeah.
Or that,
Absolutely. It's just, like adding breath, adding animation, right? Which, I mean, this is the tricky thing, right? It looks so easy, right? You watch someone do it and you're like, oh yeah, that's fun, I'd like to put on a puppet, but then it, like a lot of things in life, it's not quite as easy.
Quite as easy. I think it's terrifying to a lot of people. A lot of people don't even factor in. They're like, oh yeah, I could totally do that, and then they get up there on stage, they got their hand in a puppet, and they're like, oh my God, this is terrifying.
Absolutely.
Do you bring, I don't know, I'm obsessed with this question, but do you bring multiple crows with like how many
like
different
a backup crow?
It gives me anxiety. Like when we had Elias, the trombonist in here, and he was like, "Oh, I only fly with one trombone." I'm like, "Oh my God, that would
That's
drive
your whole show?"
Do you remember when Carrot Top lost all his trunks? They got lost by the
No.
Or no, it was a fire. I think it burned all his props or whatever. And then he's
that's
like,
right.
He's
His
like,
warehouse of props.
He's like,
Yeah.
I got nothing because
Yeah.
it's like one and done. I only got one set of them. That is it. That's my ultimate anxiety. That's why I have so many redundancy systems in this studio. How many do you bring with you?
So with the crow, I only have one, and it is, I know, it's horrible, and it gives me anxiety too if it makes you feel any better. But and especially when I have to put them in the mail. And ship them. Yeah, it's pretty horrible. But yeah, if something goes wrong, that's just kind of it. Knock on wood, of course, right? But
are we seeing the mail right now? Where is he?
No, he's in a suitcase out there. They told me to bring a puppet for a podcast, which I thought was silly, but I've got it.
Well, the Twitch people are asking if you brought the puppet, and I didn't know. So if you want to bring out the puppet,
can we let's just see it?
Does it take a long time for him to? Like, I always feel bad. He's like, "Let me go get it." He's gonna open up the case.
Put it together.
I gotta put on my protective glove, put my mask on, give it 3 shots of oxygen.
I don't know my accent there. No, well, on the opposite end of the spectrum of old man with ferret at the beach, they're all like they're the puppeteers.
Oh, by the way, the chat room, we have multiple people in the chat room that have those.
Oh, no,
the trashy ferret, Tracy
Yeah.
Claus.
No,
She's like, I bought one in Gatlinburg. I'm like, oh my God, Florida people. Florida people.
Well, the evolution to that
Tennessee.
was.
Should I bring the puppet in?
Sure, bring it on in.
Wait a minute, are you going to touch it?
Well, I'm
Well-
not going to molest the puppet.
Just the ferret.
Yeah.
The ball that has the raccoon tail attached to it that you put in a paper bag that rolls around a Cracker Barrel.
I love those.
Anyway,
Oh my God, this is legit.
Move your.
but
Yeah, you can move my trumpet.
okay,
Move my flute. Move my flute.
Okay. taking off my
Oh
headphones.
my god. Okay, yeah, you can do. We're bringing in the puppet here. This is the Crow from the Family Crow, a murder mystery. It's at the Brown Venue, $15. Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Check the website for showtimes, OrlandoFringe.org.
So my question being the people that have full body suits, like in
Like a Drunky the Bear?
Like
type
Mass
scenario?
Singer?
not
Mass
a
Singer, Rudy Giuliani.
not a costume, but I'm talking. When you go to Universal or like
Oh my god, that is amazing.
the Transformer guy, where it's like he's small and the Transformer is gigantic.
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
And so he is essentially operating a
Right.
10 times bodysuit large puppet.
Mm-hmm.
Is that considered puppeteering as well?
100%.
Okay.
I think most puppeteers will gladly accept anything that you say. Is that puppetry? I think, yeah.
Sure.
What is that like in the spectrum of puppeteering? Is that considered like some of the hardest? The suit one.
I think
You
it
want to
would,
rate the puppetry?
I don't
he
know.
wants to see how hard it is so he can like
I have
walk
to
by
put
the
everything
guy
on
at
the
And
Universal
be like,
Studios.
yours not as good.
Okay, here's what I
Well, you like look down and you're like,
I
well,
would.
what I do is harder than this.
I would.
I mean, this one man show seems way harder than the Transformer.
You know why?
Take
Because
him
he
a
doesn't
picture.
have Universal Studios $1 million behind him. You're doing it on your own.
That is very true. I think my rule for like how hard something is like how far away you are from the puppet, right? Like when you're in the puppet, like a Kermit type situation. I'm gonna get in trouble. But like I don't want to say that's the easiest, but like it is the most responsive to your movements. When you get to these things, like I was working with this company in Australia called Blank Canvas. They had this giant corroboree frog, and there were like 6 of us on it, and you're using rods, and it's gigantic. Like that's hard, right?
Yeah. That's
Well,
that
at that
seems
point,
harder.
you become like you're working a Macy's balloon. You know, like,
well,
and
that's
I'm doing
exactly,
the tail.
Exactly it, right? Yeah. And then to me, like the hardest, and I barely do any of this, but the like marionettes, you're so far away, and like there are people like Ronnie Burkett, who's a very famous marionettist and a friend of mine, but like it is wonderful, and I very much feel like. You just go. You do that. I don't need to.
Well, there's
do that.
also there's a link. There's the disconnect. There is like almost like a slight timing delay to your
100%.
movement to the marionette's movement.
Yeah.
And that all becomes like these crazy little nuances. I've fallen down a marionette hole on YouTube, and then you see these guys that can literally make their marionette's hand like come down and grab a cigarette, like a fake cigarette, put it in the pot. I'm like, what?
It's incredible.
And Barnaby Dixon is one of those guys. Like you'll see what he does with a black light, and he makes his hand basically disappear, but he's doing everything else with just his hand, and you're like, well, that's obviously a creature. No, it's not. It's just his hand.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
incredible.
So this is that's a beautiful puppet. By
It
the way.
is. I was literally just typing that in the
my
Twitch chat.
God, man.
Yeah, this is the Crow from the show. So like I was saying, this is the
Tom's mouth is a game.
Yeah, it's just crazy. But you made that.
That is
made it.
crazy.
It's got a monocle.
It's got a little monocle. I don't know. Yeah, so it's got the one trigger for the mouth, and then another for the wings here to make them fly.
And I love that your nails match. That's super awesome. I love it. No, I'm being serious.
It's not just because of the gay. It's because I got a puppet.
No, I mean, look, I paid mine and not gay. Look, do what makes you happy. Life is short. It's crazy out there.
It is.
Just from you operating it a little bit, I was staring at it like it's alive.
Oh, man.
We invited people in here, and we're so swamp trash that we just sit here, and he did the Crow 2 times, and we're like, I love it.
I just started looking at the Crow.
Oh, my God.
I'm like, I'll do anything it says.
Hey, you
Hey,
are.
just like the Crow at home. Yeah.
That is amazing, man. Well
Thanks,
done.
man.
Well done.
Thank you.
And you made that.
Yeah, so it's
Got a lot of fit and finish for something that, like, how long does something, I guess it's a never-ending project, right?
It's a never-ending project. This one took me longer than these things usually would. The fun thing is, I don't know how to make puppets out of anything other than sort of cheapish materials, right? That's just kind of what I've always done. So this is like, floor mat, like EVA foam floor mat. This is acoustic foam, like you'd have in a recording studio.
I love that his beak is like, it's foam, fake, what do you call that? The diamond
Metal,
plate.
the diamond plate. metal.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love the industrial kind of vibe that he's putting. That is really neat, man.
Yeah, it's a little steampunky. The idea
art.
is, like, at a fringe venue, you don't know, right? You're probably going to end up in front of some black curtains, and then it's a show about crows, and that you can't change that. It's literally the title, so you got a black crow in front of a black curtain, so it's like, how are we going to make it so that people can see it, right? So,
Sure.
like, that's why there's so much shine on it, screws and metal and springs and things like that.
Do people in your family, do they know, like where...
Do they know you're a puppeteer?
Yeah, because I'll say, because the podcast thing, it's not fun for me to tell people where they're like, what do you do? And I'm like, well, we've had this podcast for the last 12 years, and people are like, what?
I say pressure washer company.
It's
they believe that. They're like,
it's easier and more reputable to say pressure washer. Yeah, do you have, like, what do they think? Because that's a unique job, man. I'm a puppeteer.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty specific. I'm lucky. Almost all of my family is pretty supportive, and they've kind of. I didn't just jump. It's not like I graduated high school and went, I'm going to make a go of it as a puppeteer. Like, it's kind of evolved over time.
Sure.
I will say, though, that my partner has a fear of puppets, which I think is very funny.
That is really.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
So do you just have puppets around the house?
Well,
and
not preferably not when he visits, because that's mean.
Right.
That's my part. You put them in your puppet shack.
One room for the puppets.
You got to put those in your puppet shack. And you
the crow's going to pop up out of the bed one day. Yeah. Have you ever had, because I've always wanted to do this, where I go up to you at the end of a show and I'm like, all right, how much for your crow? My son really likes it. I would like to purchase it. Like, I'll make you
Willy
an offer.
Wonka, yeah.
Do the Willy where they make an offer for, because there's got to be a price,
Everybody has a price.
Everybody has
the
a
$1 million man, Ted DiBiase.
So if someone wanted to buy the crow, how much would you sell it for?
God, well,
like 10,000?
Yeah, you're right. There's got to be a price. But right now, I got 5 shows left.
Right.
So
but enough to make you pack it up and say, see you, friend.
Yeah, someone gave you $50,000 for a crow. I feel like you could probably put one together overnight just to get you through the
Sure, it'll be the no puppet show.
I'm just going to stand up there with a chicken bucket on my hand. It'll be fine, trust me.
Well, the show is called The Family Crow, a Murder Mystery, and Adam does the entire show. And how many different puppets do you have on stage?
Yeah, so this is the confusing part. So it's just the one puppet. He plays the narrator, and then I play all the other crows.
Okay, even more complicated than I thought, which is harder than I
like
thought.
that fringe people come in here and then we're like, this is a little complicated. Could you explain it to us? And they're like, no.
You just gotta come see it.
Same amount of talent.
Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's $15 at the Brown venue. Again, just get the pass.
This is
so you can see everything.
super duper unique, man. And thank you so much for the time. We really appreciate it. You're super talented.
And where can people follow you on social media and all that?
Yeah, and so if you go to, so my website is puckingfuppets.com. That's my company name.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Very much
I'm glad you said it, not Tom, because that would have went very wrong.
No,
you know what? We were both avoiding it because we're that dumb.
Adam, thanks so much for coming by. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more Corporate Time. Welcome back to a Corporate Time. So the hurricane party's this weekend.
Yeah, we're going to be out there hanging with friends and family, and we've been doing this for damn near, 15, 16 years now.
Yeah, this is the 15th year.
Yeah.
And we'll be doing a live podcast at noon. If you want tickets, go to tomandan.com. It's up on the top. But the lineup this year is bigger than ever.
Yeah, Paul's blowing money, which is crazy because he doesn't like spending money.
And I would say I've listened to this band probably the longest out of any band that I'll
go further and say that this is America's greatest band. Better than the Eagles. And better than Aerosmith, Steven Tyler, back in rehab yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that.
So this band now takes the crown. They are America's greatest band.
On the line with us from Less Than Jake, Chris DeMakes. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing fantastic. What a wonderful intro. I do think we're better than the Eagles, but not Aerosmith. I just got to throw that out.
Interesting.
All right.
Interesting.
Okay. All right.
I was going to fight for you guys to replace Aerosmith and Rock and Roller Coaster at Hollywood Studios.
Yeah, make it a super stretch.
So, Chris,
there you go.
The Less Than Jake started in 1992. You've been doing this for 30 years. What's your secret?
Peter Pan syndrome, man. You just don't get old. Act like a kid.
There it is. Have fun. Tom doesn't know anything about it.
But you're really smart, and we were listening to some interviews with ahead of time, trying to do research so we don't look like more assholes than we already do. But we're listening to you, and you are really clever, and you're really smart, and you write good songs. But more than that, you have your hand on the business aspect of what it takes to run a band. I mean, that's got to be. Is that just something you picked up on the job training, or did you have mentors and people that helped guide you through those parts?
I mean, I had the guys in my band. You know, I always tell people that, you know, they'll say, you know, how have you been a band this long? Or they like to use the term, how did you make it? You know, I always just tell people the truth. I met the same people with the drive and passion that I have. You know, that's what I feel is the secret. We learned along the way, you know, made a ton of mistakes, but we're still here. We're still doing our thing, you know?
Well, Chris, it seemed like Daniel mentioned you run the band like a business, and we met you guys one time because you were doing...
One of the reasons why they came to town, really, if you want to frame it correctly, because the person we were working with at Orlando City Soccer, our boss was Teresa Tadlanhari. She's gone on to work for the Nashville team now, Nashville FC. But she was a massive skateboard, you know, chick, and we all agreed that Less Than Jake would be the best band to come open at Orlando City's like little beer drinking party zone.
Yeah, and then I know they made the deal with you, and you guys came and performed, and it was funny because me and Daniel were we remember them like, you know, it's more of a corporate gig probably for you guys, so they're like they wanted you to wear the jerseys and like, but I remember just seeing the interaction. And I'm like, these guys are professionals, they're pros, they get it, they get the business side of it, and they you know they're It seemed to me like you're like this is what they know what it takes to run a small business and then also you know be less than Jake. So we just noticed in the interaction that you
seem very comfortable. Like, do you remember being in Orlando for that, or how was that experience?
Absolutely. I remember when it was. It was in the, I believe, October of 2016.
I'm telling you, this guy's memory is great.
Yeah.
We wore the purple jerseys on stage. I remember the whole day, and it was awesome. In fact, we went back there and did the Warped Tour, I believe, a summer later or so. But you know, you just kind of take each show, you know, as they come. The older that we've gotten, the longer we've been around. A lot of people are bringing out their young kids now. It's a family thing, so you know you tailor the show to that a little bit. You know, we're not going to be you know going as crazy with the expletives, but sure. We'll probably be somewhere around PG-13 at the hurricane party.
Yeah, there you go.
But it also still looks like you guys have fun on stage too. It's like I've seen some bands that it almost looks like someone forced them to play. Sure. You know, they're going through the motions at this point, and it still seems like every time you guys play on stage.
Well, it's almost like those are the bands that stopped. You know, like you guys have never stopped. You guys have always continued. So I almost feel like you guys have never had to fall prey to like that, almost like that nostalgia deal that's going on, because you guys never went away. Like, you're always putting out music, you're always doing something, you're always doing like solo music if you weren't doing stuff with the band. Is it like what's the plan? Because like even Sam asked that, like, I mean, you guys just going to continue? Do you ever talk about stopping, or is it just like we're going to continue doing this forever?
Well, I think that as long as we can get on stage and deliver the show that the fans expect and that we expect from ourselves, that's really it. You know, and the thing about seeming like we want to do this is we're not doing it for money.
Yeah.
You know, if we were, we would have stopped a long time ago. Sure. You know, and everyone in the band has other things that they do outside of the band. That doesn't take away that the band is still our priority. But we get up there and we have fun. You know, if it wasn't fun, we'd be the first to know. And I don't know how much longer we'd be a band after that. It's really difficult to get up and put on a high energy show and you know, have the fun that we have on stage if you were trying to phone it in.
Yeah, no, for sure. It'd have to be authentic.
Chris, tell us about the podcast, and when did you start that, and how do you like the podcasting? I'll say business, but I don't know if you make money off of it. Like
he's got a Patreon, I believe.
Okay, so tell us about your podcast.
Yeah, it's called Krista Makes a Podcast.
I love it.
It's very
great.
Clever, I know. Ha, ha, ha. But, it's a songwriting podcast. So it's been going for 2 years. I think we just released our 104th episode this week.
Nice.
I had Brett Gerwitz from Bad Religion on the show this week. And, 2 years ago, my producer and partner of the podcast, he was putting together, he's an old friend of mine, was putting together a video for me for my YouTube page, advertising these custom songs and jingles that I've been doing.
Yeah.
And Chris said, you should do a podcast. It's a great vehicle to get your word out there. I think you'd be really good at it. And I was very much against the idea. Podcast to me was a 4-letter word. There's a billion of them out there, and not many of them are good. And so he planted the seed. I woke up the very next morning. I said, you know what? I'm just going to do this. What the heck? And I texted about 12 guys in my phone from bands. And the first week, I think we recorded like 10 episodes or something, and just started stockpiling them. And the rest has been history. It's been one of the most rewarding things I've ever done, and it's been a great way to connect, especially through the pandemic, to connect with people and feel like I have some kind of a social life out of the four walls of my house. It was great.
Chris, I'm curious to, every time we talk to someone from a popular, successful band, they are usually cool. And they seem like they have a laid-back personality and nice people, right?
For sure.
And then it tells me, well, of course they are. This is why
they're successful.
They're successful long-term. And
this is part of the process of becoming successful, is not being an asshole.
Exactly, because you get what you put out there and then that kind of thing. But every once in a while, we don't usually touch them, but there's a complete D-head that's a part of a band that is just impossible to hang around, just an insane D-head. And they are able to do that because of the popularity of their music and has nothing to do with their personality. And I'm wondering if after being a band for 30 years, you've run across these people, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. And I don't know why they continue to do it. I've also found that these people, it's not musician unique. If these people were the local dentist, or if they were working at the car dealership, they'd still be an asshole.
Yeah.
So
you're right.
Same person, just different occupation.
And I'm more fascinated with the D-heads just because it's so different from my own personality. I'm just like, how are you able to go through your life just being an asshole to everybody? I'm jealous of it.
Well, you guys also being in entertainment for as long as you have been, you would have reason to be, I think, angry sometimes, right? Because I'm sure the number of times, especially when you were in the old blue Chevy van, I think it was, the 79 or whatever it was when you guys started, if you guys were still in that, the number of times that you were stiffed by a club owner, or when you had a band that, maybe was opening or whatever, take too long, and then you have to cut your set short or whatever. There's tons of things that could happen. How do you guys keep yourself, or namely the members of the band, how do you guys keep yourself positive and in a space where you can continue to be positive and not fall into the trap of being like those other people?
Well, I just think that I don't think we would have been a band this long if we sweat all the stuff along the way. There's everything. You get into the venue. It's funny to us. Our tour manager will come back to the bus and say, "Hey, they couldn't get any whiskey today," and we just laugh. It's like, oh, our whiskey's not here. There's some bands that would ruin the show.
Yeah.
And for us, it's like, it's a bottle of whiskey. They didn't bring it. Okay, next. So there's all little things, and that's a silly example, but it could be something like, hey, we can't fly the backdrop today. Why? Because their light truss is too, their pole back there is too small to run this. It's like, you could let it ruin your day, or just be like, okay, cool, we don't have a backdrop today.
He's more like you than me. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. He's more like you than me, because I am a ruin my day for the dumbest stuff. They're out of Diet Mountain Dew. Well, my day's ruined. I can't function now.
There is some comedy about the people that throw gigantic fits and start destroying their.
Well, I don't destroy things. I just shut down. I get very quiet. I'm not going to destroy anything, but I'll just get real quiet and be like, "Well, I can't function."
Chris, I'm curious to.
Well, that's not to say that it doesn't happen. It certainly does. And I've read stuff too online where about me or one of the guys that have been, they were jerks after a show, and sometimes I walk out of a venue and I might have been battling a head cold. We've never missed a show as a band. The show always goes on.
That's
so
insane.
I don't care what you have. You got strep throat. You get on stage, you get through it, and you'll be walking back to the bus, and maybe someone, it's 25 degrees outside. You're in Rochester, New York in the winter, and they want an autograph right then, and you say, "I'm sorry, I can't." And that doesn't mean you're pompous or whatever, and whatever. You just chalk it up. At the end of the day, people a lot of times put you on a pedestal because you're a musician, and at the end of the day, if you wanted my attention and I was working wherever, if I didn't feel good, I'm human and I'm probably going to walk by you.
Yeah. I mean, the idea of never missing a show that's a hell of a badge of honor that you guys have. And what's the closest you've come? Maybe can I ask that? Like, what's the closest you've come to having to scrap something?
There's been stuff like inclement weather that we couldn't control. There was one time we couldn't get to a show, I think in Idaho, because they had closed the interstate due to inclement weather. And in Idaho, they have pretty bad weather. So if the roads are closed there, it's got to be bad enough to where their machinery and whatever,
right,
the road crews couldn't handle it. So, but no, I mean, we've gotten on stage, broken ribs, broken foot, people in casts. 102, 103 degree temperatures, and the show must go on. That's been our motto since day one. I've gotten up there before with complete laryngitis. No word comes out of my mouth, and our bass player will say, "Hey, Chris doesn't have a voice tonight. We need you to be our voice." We had one of two choices: either we show up and be level with you, and we get through the show, or we were to cancel tonight. And are you glad we're here? And people just go. And some of those shows have been the best. It happened one time in Columbus, Ohio. I'll never forget. We got a couple guys from the opening bands to sing a couple songs, and Roger covered for me, our bass player, and then the rest of the audience sang. And nobody was none the wiser. They were just happy that we played.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's all in how you take things. Man, I'm actually, who would have guessed that you'd call in today and I'd actually learn some lessons and grow up live on the air? My God.
So, Chris, I'm curious, it may be just me because I'm a fan of the band, and I notice when I see a Less Than Jake T-shirt.
Oh, you see a lot of them. I mean, we're Floridians. We see a lot of them.
So, to me, you guys have sold an insane amount of merch throughout your time as a band.
Yeah.
Is that true, or is it just because I notice them more?
I think it's probably a little column A, a little column B. We've always prided ourselves on being a merchandise band. We have tons of different stuff that we've attached our name to, and most of the time it's just because we think it's fun. Like we've made dolls and we've made hats and belt buckles, and we've had companies that have put our band name and made their own beer and coffee. So we do things that are fun and keep it interesting for us, and then it bleeds over to the fans. And being around for 30 years and being from Florida, you would probably, especially hanging around the things that you guys do, musical events and whatnot, you're probably going to see a few Less Than Jake shirts.
Yeah, tell us about your Patreon, the after party, and how people can subscribe and possibly be a part of that if they want to participate.
Yeah, so that's called. It's actually it's not Patreon. It's called Supporting Cast.
Oh,
which is along the same line.
Gotcha.
It's along the same.
Sorry,
it's along the same lines as the Patreon. I think we went with them because they took a smaller cut.
Nice.
I believe.
I need to check that.
So yeah, and you can go to chrisdemakes.com, and that'll direct you to where you can sign up for the Supporting Cast. It's like $5 a month or $10 a month. The $5 a month gets you 2 bonus episodes. You're also eligible to play me. I have a game show on my network called Defeat the Makes, where it's a music trivia game show, and you can enter to be in that. You get discounts on merchandise and some other stuff. So
that's awesome.
We always say for the price of a cup of coffee or two, you can be part of our after party.
That's very cool.
Chris, I'm curious, in all the years of you guys touring, I'm sure that you've been involved into a less than savory music festival, because this got me thinking, because I'm not sure if you saw
a fire festival type deal?
I'm not sure if you saw that documentary about the 99 Woodstock and how much of a cluster F it was, and how poorly it was put together, and the organizers were negligent with so many different things, and so for the band, you guys don't know what you're showing. You get paid to do a music festival. You don't know who exactly is organizing or if they're doing a good job. I was wondering if you ever shown up to a music festival, you're like, oh my God, the conditions, this is terrible. They did it poorly.
Yeah, we have. It's been a long time because, now it's really, vetted through our booking agent, and they're looking and they know the promoters that are reputable, the festivals that are reputable. So, when we're going in, but you get sometimes, and we've never played. I know this one's actually legit, the Hurricane Party.
Right. Yes, I want to say ours is great. I mean, Tom was not referring to our fest. At least I hope he wasn't. If he was, boy, this is going to be a fun ride.
I know. I just yeah.
No, but yeah, you just never know. But it's been a long while. Most of the time, it's legit. And if we're to the point now where our agent, they secure a deposit up front, and if someone's going to put up, it's deposit money. It's typically legit. And then there's other stuff that's just out of your control. One of them being Mother Nature, and you get there, and the show's going to go on, but yet the backstage is flooded. It's miserable conditions. That's not any fault of the festival. So it's been a while since we've had issues that were the festival's fault, and I'm thankful for it.
Well, Chris, I'm curious that you guys have been a band for so long. I'm sure, like you said, like now your fans have kids and bring their kids to shows. I'm wondering, have any fans got super rich and then wanted you to play their birthday party?
Like a private gig.
Yeah. And then just threw, like, here's $50,000, play my birthday party because I'm rich.
My husband's name is Jake. Let's make this happen.
Yeah, we've gotten asked that before, but it's just not really logistically possible. And we're not. It's funny, if we were, a band, a superstar band, the Foo Fighters, they're not going to go play even for probably $1 million somewhere, unless it's a corporate party or something maybe they wanted to do. Our band, we can't command that type of figure, but we still have people. Our band and crew live all over the United States, so to do a proper show, we would need staging. They would have to provide a PA. And at the end of the day, when we send just the initial numbers of flights and costs, before we even get into a performance fee, that's scared off pretty much anyone that's ever asked that question.
Right.
So it's too much money.
It's funny how no one thinks of it like, we have to stay at hotels. And then
I didn't think about that.
It's like we have to, like, fly here, and then we have, like, a huge amount of equipment. We have to, like,
I think most people think we're going to give them, like, $3,000 and say, you're on your own.
And, like, it's funny. It's like, oh, yeah, I have to rent a stage and get a professional
backline lights, places like I got a bucket of ice for them, so they're gonna have a water to drink.
This is $100,000 before you even start. So like, well, Chris.
Yeah, no, like I said, it scares them off pretty quick, and that's just us being truthful. It's just how it is. These are costs that we incur every time we leave the house to go play a show.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it has to be fair.
You can see Less Than Jake. They're going to be at the Hurricane Party this Saturday. It's Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, come on out.
It's the best thing to do on Memorial Day weekend because you don't have to battle all the beach. Like, people go to the beach. Why are you doing that? Like, to go there with 10,000 other people crammed in? Like,
just come to downtown Sanford, get a little breeze. The historic Sanford L between the Weston Trading Company and Celery City. And we're really excited to see you, man. We'll see you on Saturday.
Sounds good. I'm excited to be there, and thanks for talking to me.
Oh, man, our pleasure, and take care. Safe travels. That is Chris DeMakes from Less Than Jake.
So that's the reason. Like, he's got a work ethic.
He's a business guy.
And the fact that he never
very, not.
He likes to have fun, though.
Oh yeah, but I mean, like, he also was here for an interview, so I'm going to do my interview and answer your questions accurately. Yeah, I like that. I'm a sucker for that.
I'm jealous.
I might have fallen in love.
How was he able to? He's like October 16th, 2016.
No, dude, he's a
savant.
Yeah,
he remembers dates like Rain Man for sure.
I'm not joking.
Listening to that interview, I was like, he remembers things from when they first started.
If someone said, "I'll give you $25,000 if you can guess the date of that Less Than Jake Orlando City show within 4 months," within 4 months.
I don't even know where I was.
I couldn't. I wouldn't even got
he
the
said
year.
2016. I thought it was like earlier than that. I was like 2013. I don't know.
I
can't tell you who we had on their show last week. Last week in here.
Hold on.
Were we doing Friends?
Hold on. Was it 2016? Now I'm doubting that because we were only.
I trust him. I don't trust.
Now, what if you look it up and it's wrong? Are you going to call him back?
We're calling him back.
Hold
on. Now that I put a money value on it. Now I'm
$25,000
because we both started working with Orlando City as brand ambassador in 2013.
I started in 2013.
I started in 2014.
I was 2013.
So I think it was
because I left the radio station in 2012.
Yeah. So the end of 2013. Well, how long were we doing that? Only like we were doing 2 years.
I couldn't tell you.
Or 1 year.
I have no idea. I know there's pictures of us in the jerseys jumping in the air, and we're fatter than ever.
If I was going to put a date to it, I started in 2014. That's when Tommy was born, and then 2015. I think it was 2015. I'm not calling him.
He said 2016.
Okay.
Well, now we're getting to that. Like, I feel like
And it was a begin. Was it when? Was it for a special game? Was it for the beginning of the
What
season?
day did he say?
He said October.
October.
Something
16th.
2016.
I think he said October
18th or something.
18th or something. Yeah, it was a teen. Something about
I'll
a teen.
find
He said,
Hold on,
Oh, no.
because I would.
I believe him.
I would say it was 2015, and if it was the beginning of the season, it would have been in March.
June.
Or is it April?
Old men think about dates.
You know what? That's a good one. I support the. Where's my old man brother?
People like to hear this. So look at Twitch. I see.
You know what's
they're
going to
all
get bad for you,
cheering
Sam,
us.
is when we like the sound of the buzzer. We're like, oh, yeah, give me that sweet, sweet buzzer. All right.
I like old man things about dates.
God damn it.
Oh, bye-bye. Welcome back to Corporate Time. I don't need you
Oh, my
to
God.
count me down. I know
did
when to
count
start.
you down.
You don't even have to count it down. Just I'll look, and then as soon as you hit start, I'll know.
Well, you started before you hit record.
Yeah, you did.
No, well, I thought you were doing some long three. That's how you
No,
bully me.
I mean,
Not everything is a. Not everything.
That's how
is a
you
joke.
tell me subconsciously that you're in charge.
Not
of this
everything
operation.
is a joke.
You're
in
the
here.
captain now.
I don't want to be the captain. I never have. Hey, Canadian Josh is on the line. What's up, Josh?
Hey guys, good to see you. How you guys doing?
So, Josh,
I've eliminated your theme song, by the way. Executive decision.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
gone. It's gone.
first, let's find out. You lost that bet you placed with the online.
yet.
It's ongoing.
Not yet, buddy. 24 pounds by August 6th. It's going to be tough.
I think you can do it.
What are you down now?
Yeah, what are you down?
I'm down like 42.
Wow.
That's great.
Congrats.
It really shows, too. You look good, man.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's the last 24 that you're not going to be
Oh,
able
yeah.
to do. Like your
It's
body
gonna be
hits.
rough.
The
yeah,
dad muffin.
yeah. Your body
Well,
hits.
it doesn't matter how he looks. It just matters if he gets the weight off,
Yeah,
right?
just needs the numbers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so don't even worry about the muffin or anything. You just gotta drastic times come from drastic measures. You're gonna have to shave your head, shave your beard, shave your pubes, all
Everything.
hair.
It's all coming off.
Yes.
I work with a real man Russian doctor. Maybe he can prescribe me some meth salts and, just caloric intake
Yeah.
of
Ooh,
300
that's a
a
shot.
day.
Yeah,
That's
you
a
need
shot
to
at
lower, and you're gonna have to do a lot of colonics, and you're gonna have to dehydrate yourself.
When is plastic surgery going to become cheaper?
It is
Because I
A
feel
lot of it is.
Yeah, if you go
And
out,
how
of-
much just to suck out all the fat?
Liposuction?
Yeah, liposuction.
is that what they
now.
call it?
Because that seems real easy. Like they
I
just
think liposuction. I don't think liposuction is done. It seemed okay. Let me rephrase that. I think-
$3,200.
It seems like liposuction.
that's worth it.
It seems like liposuction was real hot for a very long time, and then it just sort of disappeared. As soon as people started dying, getting liposuction, it seems like. Do you guys know?
Yeah,
I only
but
know
they're
one
getting-
person that's had two. I know two people that have had liposuction. That's it. It's not very common. Breast augmentation, I know hundreds of
Yeah,
people.
Tommy
yeah.
tucks, Brazilian butt
Nose,
Yeah,
nose,
yeah.
getting your nose done. I probably know
Facelift.
10, 15
Botox
people.
is huge.
Botox, I know hundreds.
But it's like
Lip fillers.
It seems like,
Not
But
really
fake
surgery.
ass and liposuction, I don't know one fake ass. I don't know. Not even one. I don't know one fake
oh,
ass.
I see them now. I see the fake asses. Like the more resort pools and like.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen one.
If you go to
Not
Blizzard,
that I could say definitely 100% fake ass.
if you go to Blizzard Beach at any time during the summer, you will see a fake ass. I
Yeah.
guarantee it.
I see
Because they're-
more-
especially the amount of Brazilians. I mean, there's
Well,
a lot of Brazilians that have fake
Yeah, because
asses.
they're amazing Brazilian doctors that you could go to. You could go to Brazil right now with different laws and different qualifications, and the doctor's still amazing. It's just not an American doctor.
yeah, it'll save you $5,000.
Or more.
So,
But I've never
anyway,
seen the fake ass in the wild, only on the Madonna.
But people struggle to lose weight so much. You think that liposuction, like people would get better and better, and it gets safer and safer, and cheaper, and then people would just do that all the time.
Well, you need to think
I
about
know
your-
you get like it grows back weird sometimes.
It gets lumpy.
but then it's like, can't they go in and fix that?
No.
Like, you go in once a month, or not a month, every 2 years, and you get it all.
and get my lumps evened out.
yeah. And it's like that seems like
No.
someone would pay for that instead
Okay.
of working out and eating right, because that's hard as hell.
I know a couple of people that have had liposuction. From what I was told, in older versions of lipo, I'm just going to go on what I was told.
Yeah.
Older versions of liposuction was a lot more invasive, right? And when because your body has fat cells all across it, like distributed all across it. From what I was told, this could be all BS, and I could have just thought this, and it's a myth, and I'm an idiot. But I was told that your body has fat cells distributed throughout it, and those fat cells that are in those areas are those areas' fat cells. And when you start sucking those things out, when you regain weight after liposuction, you get the disproportioned body.
Weird.
Yeah, you get weird curves and weird lumpatures. That's a real word that I just created. You get weird lumpatures all over your body when that fat grows back, and you will stay a lumpatured human until you die because you're altering. Now that I could be wrong, but this is what I was told.
Yeah. I have also heard that.
And I've seen it, and it looks pretty lumpy.
I just thought that, they would figure out and have a way to...
smooth the lumps.
Yeah, smooth the lumps or figure out a way to keep the maintenance better.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems
It's like
a
cake with too much frosting. You don't leave the frosting in that area. You take that knife that doesn't have a blade on it that's just for smearing things, and you spread it out, smooth it out good.
Almost every single person I know would like to lose some weight. You know what I'm saying? Like,
if you're asking
I don't know
me if
anybody.
I would like liposuction, if it wouldn't make me a lumpature, I'm in.
Maybe it's impossible. How you doing, Josh?
I'm doing good. This is the best segment I've ever done so far. I'm really enjoying it.
I want to get your fat sucked out, sir. How can we make this happen?
So what do you want to talk about today?
Well, the first thing I actually sent Sam in a prop for this. So Sam apparently has that ready. I was scrolling through TikTok and it was giving me weird facts about Canada. And one of the things they said is you cannot tear Canadian currency. So I left it at that. I didn't Google it any further. What I did was I got a $5 bill and I sent it to Samantha.
Yeah.
And because you guys can tear American dollar bills, like
you already defiled it by putting Canadian Josh on the actual.
It's a beautiful. I mean, your money.
It is pretty.
Can I just give Canada a compliment? Your money is striking. That is the most gorgeous bill I've ever.
Yeah, I like the see-through.
Why'd you send the $5?
It's got a prism window.
It's the smallest bill we have.
Oh, I guess that's true because you get the Looney and Tooney coins.
Yeah, Loonies and Toonies.
Yeah.
My God, you guys even have windows on your money.
You got coins called Loonies and Toonies?
Why do you guys have an astronaut on the back of your money? You don't have any space program.
Yeah, they do.
We help out. We give the arm, the hydraulic arm that does the lifting. And stuff.
That's all Canada.
Don't do that again, Josh.
Yeah, all Canada does all of this stuff. They're doing that.
So should I give this to the strongest man in the room to see if he can rip?
Let's see if Tom will be the one who thinks
he's the strongest physically, but I'm the strongest mentally.
First of all, there's one, I don't even have to touch it, and I can just tell I can 100% rip this
There's
thing.
some kind of weirdo plastic in the middle.
I think it's got plastic in the center, and you won't be able to do it. It's like a trick.
So,
all right,
damn, Tom, I'm about to fall out my chair. Can you meet me halfway?
My God, this guy, be a
Holy
gentleman
smokes.
for Christ's sake. He just wants you to lean down so you can see your cleavage.
No, that's not true.
I know that trick.
Jeez
I know that
Louise.
trick. I do that with my wife all the time when she's handing me a Diet Coke. I'm like, a little more. She gives it to me, and she's like, that's 12 today, Trump. I drink a lot of Diet Coke, man. Woo!
Oh,
It's
now I got
fine.
Josh's
He got that right.
address.
This
This
Diet
does.
Coke is
Hold on.
delicious.
Now I'm starting to go back because this does feel like just a plastic, some sort of tarp.
You don't think the Canadian?
This
You
is
don't
not
think the Canadian
paper.
Josh is smart enough to send a bit, cross North America to you just so you look stupid on his podcast?
So why
on our podcast? I gave it to you, Josh.
Why is Canadian money made out of plastic?
It's economics. It's cheaper, right?
if it
You don't
gets
have
wet-
to. You guys are always have to print new money. They don't have to take them out of circulation as
Smart. They're so much smarter
Yeah, you
than
can
us.
take Canadian money to the beach.
How dare you.
Have you ever bought a Mexican pizza with wet dollar bills in your bathing suit?
Right,
I have.
exactly.
I have done that.
It is kind of dumb that we use paper.
We use
It's so easily destroyable.
And listen, my
You
argument.
wash it in the washing machine, ruined.
If they were that smart, they'd be like, "Well, it's warmer down there. Like, why are we stopping here?"
right.
That's
I
all
got
I'm saying.
it. Are you going to try and rip this or
Anyway,
not?
yes, I will.
They
Okay,
got it.
There we
so
go.
They
On
got
camera.
here we
Health
go.
insurance.
There we go.
This is here we go.
Man,
Ready?
let's
And
see
we
if
tear
TikTok is right.
Oh my God! All right, Dad.
It's
Dad. All right, Dad, you got me. Why did you call Josh Dad?
No, I said God.
He was going to say damn it and God, and he said dad.
Does that mean you think you're Jesus? Because if
I
you're calling God
cannot
Dad?
rip it. It's plastic. It's just stinky old plastic.
Hold on,
There's gotta be
okay.
there's got to be a
It's
trick
garbage.
to. Hold on. Like, let's power team this. Let's be smart about this. Yeah, this is just straight plastic. There is no.
Yeah.
You can't even like. That's pretty
It's not
amazing.
even like a plastic bag. It's some fortified plastic.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. So
with
is
some ghost on the front.
Josh, do you know if the initial cost for this $5 Canadian piece of money here, if the initial cost of this, how much more this would be than our paper money would cost?
Significantly more, but they stay in circulation longer. So that's pays for itself type of thing.
Interesting. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Do you have rules? You wrote your name on there. Is that illegal?
Well, my hope was you'd pin it up in the bathroom. Because when I was in the studio
I'll
there
pin it
years
up.
ago, I don't think I signed.
I'm going to wipe with it and flush it down the toilet because your money is not as good as our money, and we're the best.
Yeah. I could buy like a quarter of the books with this money.
How much would this get me in a Canadian strip club where it's fully nude?
That's just your standard minimum tip right there. That's the bare minimum.
So that's
They
like
don't want you
$1.
throwing coins at them. Yeah.
I'm not throwing any Looney Tunes at them. What's the biggest
Hold on.
Canadian denomination?
1,000.
Okay.
1,000.
So I am going to. I'm with Sam here with the astronaut in the back.
Thank you.
Because
You're not known for that.
Yeah, you have the arm, okay.
Does
but,
it have the
Give
person's
me,
name?
No, but it has an astronaut too, and it's like
Right.
you guys weren't a pivotal factor in our space
They're the
program,
arm.
or they're like I never even.
No Canada, no arm, sir.
All I
That's
hear
right.
is like there's a bunch of
Put
like
Alanis Morissette on the back of that thing.
there's Americans and there's
I'd support
Russians
that.
up there, but I never hear about
Make
Canadians.
believe.
You know what? Put a grumpy and shell-shocked Mike Myers on the back of that. Now you got, like, when Kanye's telling him that George Bush doesn't care about black people, put that Mike Myers on the
He's got
back
a new
of it.
show on Netflix.
This is
I'm not interested.
this
Me
is
neither.
stolen valor. you're like, we do space. And you're like, no, you don't, Canada. We do space, America.
Thank you.
Let me see the back of this. I got to check this out.
Yeah, I
And
didn't realize
Russians.
this would turn into stolen valor.
Do they have the astronaut's name or any? Oh, it does. Even on the arm, they wrote Canada real big. Like, Canada's
Make
responsible
sure we're
for
in
the
there,
arm.
yeah.
Yeah, but is that what you guys are known for?
And isn't the space station? It's not even a thing anymore because Russia's like, we are done.
No, but well, that's
Pull
the
it
thing.
down.
It's
Pull
I've
it
only
down.
I've only heard about Russia and the United States up in space,
And who's
then
this other
China's
guy?
up there messing around.
Who's this other guy on here? Who's this guy?
That's John McDonald. He was the
John
first Prime Minister of
McDonald.
Canada.
Who would guess that John McDonald had nothing to do with McDonald's and Ray Kroc invented McDonald's? That's crazy.
All right, Josh, what do you got next?
All right. Well, there is a lot of hockey going on, and you guys are the hockey capital of the world
We really
right now in
are.
Florida.
We
How
really
about Tampa, by the way, Sam? Man, I jumped on that Panthers bandwagon, and it did not
How
work out.
dare
so-
you?
I'm glad that I at least know a little bit enough. I've been watching enough hockey where I said, and I think everybody here will back me up, that the Maple Leafs, far better team. And I even said this going into the playoffs. I was like, the Toronto is going to be a hell of a lot harder than Florida would be, and Florida they were bad.
Yeah, they
were-
essed the bed big time.
Yeah, they did.
And I don't think I've ever seen a team that dominated during the mains. I mean, the first half of the season, they were the team. They were it.
Yeah.
They were not losing. And then they get to the playoffs. I guess they squeaked through the first round, and the second round not so good for them. So yeah, go Lightning.
Yeah, and just on staying on the hockey theme, and you guys are watching a lot of it. Hey, you guys, any rules in hockey that you guys still find a little confusing? Primarily the icing rule. When I talk to people who are just getting into hockey, the main question I get as a hockeyman is the icing call.
Do they mean like why? Because I know it's when the puck goes all the way down, nobody's there, they shot it, it crosses the blue line, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, and there is a little bit of ambiguity, and that's why I just, for all those people who are just getting into hockey, we talk a little bit
Yeah,
about icing. So
let's talk about icing.
Yeah, so basically, obviously, the center line divides the rink into two halves, right? So with icing, if any player shoots the puck anywhere from their side of the red line, crosses the red line, and goes over the goal line in the other end, that's icing. It's an automatic stoppage in play, and the face-off comes down to the side that shot it down the ice. Like I said, there are a few little nuances in it. Pretty interesting. The reason they started the icing rule a long time ago, back in 1937, the teams could just shoot the puck down all the time as a delaying tactic. So if you had a 1 or 2 goal lead and it's coming into the game, they were just shooting the puck down crazy, delaying the game. So that's why they introduced the icing rule back in
Makes sense.
Back in 1937.
Yeah, they were always trying to keep things. It seems like there are some sports where everybody fought to make it more exciting and faster, and there are some sports where that just absolutely will not happen, such as baseball.
You know what I just thought about? I don't like professional sports teams named after the whole state. Because
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Like Florida Panthers, Florida Marlins.
Yeah,
you're
because
out.
Tampa's in Florida too.
no, but yes, and
Pick a city.
It
yes,
seems like it-
just pick because I guarantee the people in the Panhandle of Florida like if you ask them like you support the Florida Panthers, and I'm like I am 6.5 hours away. The games are played in Miami. Like for me to drive from Tallahassee to Miami is an insane trek to even see the quote unquote Florida Panthers, named after the entire state. It's got to be a city. Get with the times.
Oh, man.
Get with the times.
You know what? I support Get with the Times. Don't you dare hit that button, Sam. Welcome back to a new segment called Get with the Times. I think we should change Josh's segment to called Get with the Times with Canadian Josh.
I never liked the fact, like, if you go to NFL, like the New York Giants and the New York Jets, and then it's like, well, they can't both be the same. And then it's like, oh, yeah, but they like the Jets basically play.
Chat room's coming at you. What about Carolina Panthers? It's named after North and South Carolina.
Don't like it.
Don't like it.
New England Patriots.
I didn't say there was an exception. I'm saying I don't like it.
It all stinks.
The New England Patriots are an exception because I feel like everybody just knows it's Boston. Like everybody's just like it's Boston's Patriots and New England. I don't even know what that means really.
Like
so,
when I think of New England, I think tiny state, right?
Yeah. And they're
teeny.
Yeah.
A teeny area is what I think
Rhode
of.
Island.
I'm like Delaware. I'm like, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
Listen, I don't like the Washington Commanders because then
I like the name,
but it's like you're DC. You're in DC. Like there
should be the DC Curry.
There's an entire state that we call Washington. It should be called the DC Commanders. What the hell?
DC Commander sounds pretty good too.
D Commanders.
Yeah.
The C is Commanders.
Hey,
by the way, I hate their
C's.
name. Anyway, so
are you comfortable with icing, Tom? You kind of get a grasp on that?
I understand it, and because there has to be a rule, because if not, people would take advantage of just hitting the puck over there, and then the fastest guy to the puck always will have an advantage, right?
One of the things...
Kind of like in soccer, when you kick the ball in front of the person or behind the defenders.
Being offsides?
Offside.
Well, they have offsides in hockey, too, so icing is similar, but like in it, it's just to not give a unfair advantage to the team who's taking advantage of what's happening at the time.
Yeah, exactly. And there are two exceptions. If you are on the penalty kill, if you are shorthanded, you can ice the puck unlimited times. They just say that kind of evens it out a little bit. And the linesmen also, sometimes you'll see them wave it off. If the puck's going down, looks like it's about to cross the goal line to cause an icing. But if the linesman deems that the player who's going after the puck can potentially play it, he'll wave the icing off. Those are the only two exceptions.
Let me ask you this, Josh. I have a gripe for a rule because I'm watching playoff hockey and
Get with the Times. Welcome back to Get with the Times, and there's a segment within the show called Get with the Times called What's Really Bothering Me Right Now.
You know what's really got my goat?
Yeah, here's your host of What's Grinding Me Up, Tom Van. Take it away, Tom.
When they go for a face-off, right, and not the main face-off, but like a side face-off, I don't know what it's called.
It's just a face-off.
And the referee's holding the puck and getting ready to drop it, right? And the players are they're antsy because they're
dropping a dog biscuit.
And then they always, like just when he's about to do it, they one of them jumps the gun, or like, they both start jumping the gun, and they're like, well, hold, and then I feel like if you jump the gun, then you're like, get out of here. I'm giving it to the other. You know what I'm saying? Just like if you flinch or whatever, it's like
that kind of happens.
You know what I'm saying?
If you do there was a hand pass in one of the games.
I love that Tom just wants everything to be the NFL.
No, but it kind of happens.
Well, they're both jumping the gun, so it's like the whole purpose is like to time when the referee drops it, and then you get the puck first. If you're constantly like, like, you know what I'm saying? Then it's like
I like that. Yeah.
I kind of like it too,
and it wastes time. You're like, stop. We have to calm, and it has to be fair before I drop the puck.
Don't say they waste time. I mean, hockey is the fastest sport. There is no debating that. I mean, football looks like a snail's race compared to anything hockey.
Well, all right, let's compare it to the NBA. When they do a jump ball, if the referee was getting ready and a player jumps before the ball, I don't know why they do that because it's right in front of this big
stupid player.
But it would be like hey, or the other team gets the ball. You pre-jump.
You just want them to be penalized for it.
It's like in racing.
It's like
if you jump the start, you get penalized.
You get disqualified.
Yeah. So it's like you hold steady, you hold, and if you try to jump in early, then you should be penalized.
Let me point out something broadcasting here. The number of times I've said Dick's qualified on this show is too many times. Can't not say it.
What else you got, Josh?
I do agree with you there, Tom. I yell at the TV all the time. You got to get the sense, too, when the linesman's kind of holding it there. He's a little bit drunk with power. It's like, I'll decide when this game's going to restart. I think it should just be a countdown. Everybody's in place. 3, 2, 1. I'm dropping the pot.
I've been watching.
Tom hates countdowns.
I've been watching.
As we heard earlier.
I've been watching all of these games, and one of the things that was mentioned in one of the games by a broadcaster that I'd never thought, why don't they do this? They were talking about how they stop play like when a puck hits the net.
Yeah.
Right.
You're familiar with what I'm talking about, and like all the nets though. All the nets are black,
Right.
so they can't tell.
It's very hard to
It's very
tell.
hard, and he just casually says, well, why don't we just make the nets white? And the whole broadcast shut down. It was like, Kang! Everybody was like, that's a really good
Never
idea.
thought about
Like,
that
it
before.
was kind of
That's
like
a great
that.
point, yeah.
It was
How
kind
did
of
they
like
never
that.
thought about it?
I don't know, but I laughed because I was like, was that real? And I'm like, yeah, I think that they never thought. No one's ever thought of that.
Or make them green.
It's probably because people above, it would obstruct their view.
Yeah, that's what I was
You
about to
know?
say.
More than
Some of the spectators,
more than likely, yeah.
Or make them green, and and during the telecast, you could
Get rid of them.
Get rid of them, make
Yeah,
them
it's true.
disappear, and then they're not
I
covering.
mean, this guy's thinking over here, man.
So
you
then
took
it's
your
like-
Adderall. That's not
Although black nets would obstruct their view more, I feel like. I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Maybe it would blend too much with the ice,
Well,
and it'd be harder to tell.
don't know. There's got to be a reason for it.
Josh, we got limited time. Anything you want to finish with something?
Okay, I got a real quick one
Yeah,
now.
Tom's had it with you, apparently. You are not.
Done with you, Dad.
We only got so much time.
Mad at you.
Okay.
We wasted
Real fun
it.
fact, when you guys say the word Toronto, that's not how people in Canada pronounce it. Try dropping the second T as in Toronto. No. They don't.
Toronto.
I'll leave you with that fun
Yeah,
fact.
but there's a T in there.
Yeah, but we don't pronounce it.
What are we supposed to do with it?
Well,
though?
yeah,
It's like, do you
Ignore
say
it.
Illinois or Illinois?
I say Illinois.
Yeah.
So you drop
Illinois.
the S.
But both Toronto
Yeah.
and Illinois don't matter to me, so I don't say it very often.
Yeah. But
It's easier to say. It's easier on the mouth, Dan. Just try it.
Toronto. I like that.
we won
Yeah.
the war, so we get to decide
What
what we can know how our words
This
work.
guy's feeling himself today.
That's all
I
I'm
like
saying.
spicy, Tom.
When you win the war,
Yeah.
you get to write your own history.
Yeah.
That's all I'm
What
saying.
war are you talking about?
Well, I'm sure there
any
was some
war.
sort of war
All
that
old
All the wars.
All
forced
the
the
wars.
Canadians north.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
wanted to go south, but we're like, no.
Yeah, get up there.
Yeah.
You stay up there. That's what we
No.
said. We're like, you go up there and you stay up there with the moose and the bear.
Yeah.
And we'll stay down here with the sunshine and the bikini models.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah, well, we burned down the White House. We'll talk about that next week.
What?
We burned the White House
Wow,
down.
don't
Yeah.
you ever speak like that.
that
Take
does-
that, Obama.
You know what? I'm taking your bid away. I
That-
can't have an un-American person on this show. That's not going to fly in my house.
All right, Josh. You got anything to plug before you go?
No, that's it. Love you guys. Bye.
Love you
thank
too,
you.
man. Beavers, be good. That is Canadian Josh, live from the Great White North.
All right, we'll get out of here. Have a safe weekend. Bye-bye.